I stunned all of them.
Here's one.
I fight. Swap.
Stopping. I'm looking more.
They're on left. They're fire. I'm netting that.
I'm netting. We're all playing roof.
Behind wall. Just play safe. We win this game.
I'm playing under. I have heaps of nades again.
Playing cover.
Skin.
I'm netting it.
Yeah. I'm gonna swing around here for an angle.
That's done.
Swing.
Let's go.
God.
Oh my god. Let's go. Let's go, boys.
Perfectly, boys. Oh my god.
It's right here, cut the ribbons by Rogers and the rest. Akuma is gone here. Same can be said for the rest of SWQ. A single member left as True takes advantage. And watching from BK, finding a squad to fight, and Tree Cleaner is just cut down.
Be happy. Set up and Weibo. I don't know, they're going to be under the pump at the moment. Pete, God, he's gone for the double! No way. There might still be a world in here. MXF trying to hold on, but Weibo
Trying formation, but VP is the one altogether to run into Walsh here, who's alone, isolated from the rest.
I was thinking about taking matters into their own hands, and now the fight really starts to ensue. That's some
remarkable team also taking this opportunity. They find the opposition cornered. Big Z now has been felled. It's a battle for the rock, and we'll see who'll take the game with it. A slide in from very cheeky.
on the outskirts of the map still. Would be awkward.
That's DreamFire finishing off the job there. SWQ, now they're forced out, and it'll run into KPG. True also gonna be nearby. KPG can't even get into the ring. Here comes Fruit Salad, though. Push comes to shove versus EVOS Predator. 2v2 for now as Grape Soda's gonna get eliminated. By Euler hits a good shot, and Fruit Salad searching for a final target by Euler. And Weibo will now take the fight to all these other squads. Here we go with Peacock again, eviscerating, eradicating SWQ. But we're not done with the Weibo experience. Next on the list, really, in clashing in the 3v3. Here we go now with the mother load. And with it, it's a 1-for-1 trade. Peacock, though, keeping the pressure going. X and Y can't handle Weibo at all.
Also found themselves inside of Skyhook, so we'll take a fight, which is an interesting one. Weibo are playing Edge, DreamFire are playing Zone, and Weibo, they're not shying away from the fights at all. Just have a look at that team.
We've had 5 respawns minimum so far. We get confirmation on that perhaps fraud, but JR with the devotion in hand, keeping things going. Target above the rocks. MXF, it's been just a rat adventure, but right now we'll see. Real quick though, True under duress. Grape Soda.
Yeah, Kraber. Can it do some damage? They waiting. Definitely don't want to be crashed on by a couple of teams. Overtake Weibo again. 72 points is kind of what we're looking for at this point in time. I guess 73 is what you'd need to guarantee.
Big.
And a big lot of damage coming through. And it's going to be, I hate the world, straight on top of that to follow up. Kraber from the high ground. Here's a big chance.
They need a bit more KP here to close the gap versus Weibo. And the rest that you mentioned, it's cover here for DreamFire.
Well, SWQ have used the last shot of their Kraber, whereas DreamFire still have a couple to play with. It might not matter anymore. The real fight's going to kick on. M's got one. Pete got another. We're down to the 2-on-1. SWQ had their opportunity. They had that 2-on-3. They didn't push the issue. A couple of good shots in from the bow check. Lots of connections even here for Gugu.
So but taking a bit of damage. Now the Rolling Thunder gonna be played, but we're watching still. The bow check. 2 beautiful things!
Looking for some more. Dan's gonna go through, and that should be
out early, struggling to make that kind of impact, given you have a star-studded roster to cover. And Legend Gaming skill is one legendary. That's yet again, but this time around, they're the ones losing out against MXF, who are in position. A jump in, a leap.
He'll try to make it on his own now.
FBY leaping onto NoCredit now. They have the height. They're dropping down into the pylon. XX gets mowed down though. Doesn't expect it's a Peacekeeper nearby. Bye-bye so far. Fruit Salad though. There's a bit of danger. Acquaintance needs to get the reset going by Euler. Scholar trying to provide cover, but Kill Devil is on the hunt. Fruit Salad now eliminated. Bolin bringing in the lead. Levy also away the pan something from the mill. Have found one another, and it's LGD looking for that third party, but they're fighting both squads.
They want to see their two opponents fighting, but in fact, maybe to QQ of VK Gaming, and it's just surely nothing here. VK, look at the struggle that they've got themselves into. It's fish in a barrel for DreamFire to finish off this game, and
This spear, strafing flame up close. Noel Sang the first to fall. 99 on that shot. The choke's in.
I don't see that that's going to happen. This is an absolute mess. It's a cluster of fun, might be a word to use. And how do you get through this without losing players? Well, answer is you don't. Legacy already on the floor. Bugi down to half. Below half, Jesco.
Can we triple swing the back here? Just give him 1, 2, 3, swing.
Yeah.
I stunned all of them.
Here's one.
I fight. Swap. Just play safe. Play safe. We win this game.
I'm landing in.
Yeah. I'm gonna swing around here for an angle.
That one.
Swing.
Oh, let's
my
go.
fucking god.
Oh my god. Let's go.
Heroez is Papa still through the smoke right now. An angle here to bring the damage.
Try and get a revive going on here, but now they've got almost a Firebird in front of them.
Mow you down so very quickly. Pete God, he was searching for KP a while ago. Now he gets it.
Into the punch by DreamFire in the last game of the day, and perhaps they might do
Chance
this.
to climb, but Weibo still fighting versus Barraclaw here. They got the first knock already. Continue on how it's done. And with the Octane, that extra bit of speed, that's him. It's time to go. Luhan and Levy will send it. Kill Devil want to fight immediately, but Benfu makes them work for now. Looking to take the fight towards KPG here. Tree Cleaner cornered, and he will just be felled by Vic Liao. Next on the list might be the rest of KPG through the smoke. HKUF will push, and they're fighting really well today. Weibo sure making them work for it. Invited to, but they're happy to stay on the sidelines here.
Oh, big spam from this devotion.
undisputed champions of APAC-South in the ALGS.
Such a good spot here. Provides any much coverage for Popcorn. Grape kicks down and out already. Crystal strike there.
About to go down. 1v1. 1v1.
Oh, what? Well, Shady finds the target.
That's going to be a punishing blow.
Tree is covered. Fly high to Senpai. The wraparound is perfect.
What? No! Look, overextends. So does Kashira.
Does get spotted out. The pings go down. Oh my god!
It's the 360! What a beast!
Welcome back, everyone, and thank you once again for joining us here in the APAC-South Pro League. We're just about to see Groups B versus C battle it out and try and get themselves a spot in the regional finals in 2 weeks' time. So this is going to be the last chance that these teams get to perform for us today. Welcome back, Elfish and Genome. Elfish, I hope you had some delicious food because we got another 6 matches ahead of us.
Oh, I did. The food was too delicious. That, I think, is going to be part of the problem. You know, if you see me slow down throughout this first game, it's probably because I'm falling asleep. I don't know if you guys get that, but after I have a nice
Food
meal,
coma.
I like to just have a little bit of you know, close my eyes, lay back down. But it's not an option, unfortunately, unless Jenna wants to solo cast. But I'm not sure that he's going to be up for that today.
Oh, mate.
That says it all.
I don't know if there's enough words left in my throat to pull off a solo cast, honestly.
That's fine. Look, it's all right. We can do this. Another 6 matches. You know, our pro teams are going to be able to lock it in. I'm sure that we can lock it in as well. We've got our bellies full of food, and you know what? We can just take on another set of games. But we're going to be heading to Storm Point again at the start. So let's have a look at everything you need to know about Split 2.
Let's jump straight into Split 2 of the Year 4 Pro League. Here's a quick reminder about our format. Each region is made up of 30 teams. 8 of those teams battled through the preseason qualifiers, and 22 earned it through established winning form, invites from EA, or by being the best of the rest. Those 30 teams will be split into 3 groups of 10 teams and play a triple round robin with each group playing the others 3 times. At the end of the regular season, the top 20 teams in each region will play a match point regional final, where a number of the top teams of each region will then advance to the Split 2 playoffs. Looking forward to the second split, we're going to find out if the teams that topped their regions have what it takes to make another deep run.
I feel like this split has just gone in a blink of an eye as we are so close to regional finals. So close, in fact, that we only have 6 more matches in our triple round robin. So that's groups B and C going to head today just to try and get themselves a spot in that top 20. You know, we said goodbye to groups A, so that's the likes of like Legends Gaming. We got Kill Devil, Outside the Ring, Bear Claw, GK Esports. So we're going to see some teams come back into fruition and also some teams that have played today try and creep their way up the leaderboard. You know, it's going to be tough. We've been keeping an eye on Virtus.pro, who are in 26th position at the moment, Elfish. They have another set of matches, so they need to do something. I'm going to say they're going to have to get a couple of wins just to push themselves above.
Well, I mean, I guess the story is for anyone apart from Outside the Ring in the bottom of this leaderboard, the bottom 10, they are going to be playing again in this lobby. Now, the obvious issue, obviously, for teams like Fruit Salad is that they just cannot make it in any way, shape, or form. Max points you can get is 25, so they're not going to get to 43. So they're out. True is out. They would be able to get not quite there either. So Akuma's like kind of the cutoff, but even then for Akuma, it's like, well, it's pretty much impossible unless you literally win, and everything else would have to go your way as well. But look, there's quite a few teams in there that, you know, we can really kind of focus on and think, okay, if they have a good lobby here, they can still jump their way up into that final 20. So that's really what I think we're going to be focusing on for the majority of these 6 games. But how far down that goes, I don't know. Maybe down to barbecue. Is VP going to make it? That would be a real stretch for me.
Yeah, you know, we've said goodbye to, you know, GK Esports. I think they're about 13th. You know, that gives way, I guess, for NoCredit to even sort of sneak up there as well, along with HKUF. That's going to be sneaking up there too. But let's go have a look at exactly where our teams will be landing as we head over back to Storm Point. Elfish, why don't you take us away?
Yeah, looking forward to it. Let's have a look and see where these teams are going to be dropping. Who's getting into those all-important positions. We are obviously looking towards, you know, maybe Mill, Sito Station. Those are kind of places that we're seeing teams kind of prioritize. You know, TK for X and Y quite early in the order there as well. I mean, Virtus.pro have got Mill, so that's a pretty solid position. DreamFire and Sito. Other teams to kind of keep an eye on, I think, for me personally, obviously, I want to talk about Weibo. I want to talk about Guild. I think those two teams as well kind of making a good run in this final week. Don't know that they've necessarily got the most ideal of drop locations, but in particular, yeah, my eyes are definitely turned towards the Mill and Sito Station. We've got two quote-unquote strong teams, although Virtus.pro maybe not in this season feeling all that strong, but two powerful positions to play from. And yeah, I don't know if it's going to come together in any way, shape or form for VP in this lobby. Maybe it would have to come out of a drop location like the Mill.
I mean, interestingly also is that, you know, DreamFire, who have historically landed Mill, have not opted for that, right? They've gone for Sito Station, and that I think typically has been picked higher than Mill so far in, you know, since we've introduced the POI draft. And so, you know, I like to see that, you know, not going for the comfort pick. They are, in fact, just saying, hey, this is straight up the better POI, so we're going to go for it.
Yeah, and I guess after their performance last week, you know, we talked a lot about DreamFire struggling throughout the start of Split, but making an insane comeback last week, which was awesome to see. You know, Sito being one of the top winning POIs, getting that spot, you know, yes, like you said, they're usually the Mill. That's fine. You know, they've got a great position now. So let's take it away. Let's see if DreamFire can keep their, you know, good reign. Let's take it away for match number 1.
Yep, back over onto Storm Point. And I mean, just quickly on that topic, Sito Station and the Mill, like obviously they're right next to each other. So even in that case where DreamFire say, okay, we're out of our quote-unquote comfort zone, look, the rotations, generally speaking, aren't going to be that much different. The timing isn't going to be that much different coming out of Sito versus the Mill. So there, I think, is a degree of familiarity there, regardless for them, that they can lean back on and be pretty happy with.
Yeah, because you do see teams going for, if they don't get the POI that they wanted to get, or that they are, you know, confident with, in those sort of situations, you do often see them go just nearby, because it's like, well, we didn't get Landslide for Legends last, you know, last game, so they go for Countdown, because it might not be the same rotations, but they are similar if you're coming from a similar side of the map, and the chokes that you have to rotate through, even if there's a slightly different timing and priority, do tend to be somewhat the same. So yeah, DreamFire happy to stick that one out in Sito Station as we head towards maybe Jurassic, maybe you know, in the confluence of those 3 mountains.
Yeah, it's a pretty hefty pull, honestly. You might normally be expecting that one to go back over towards Sito Station or something like that, but it's gone pretty far southeast. DreamFire are aware of that, so they'll be actually the first team rotating, which makes sense. Sito Station, very central drop location, gives them the opportunity to be a fast mover. And DreamFire does tend to be one of those teams that likes to get in there pretty quickly when the opportunity presents itself. So they're well on their way to locking down a central position. BK Gaming as well are flying through the air at the moment. And they had a pretty decent week last week. It started quite poorly. Actually, no, I lie. It started extremely well. They won the first game, and it was quite a good win as well, but they didn't really manage to do too much else in that lobby. But, in saying that, they did pretty well in their second lobby, and they had a pretty good day overall. So, we're looking to back that up again today, and see how much further up in the standings they can push themselves. DreamFire actually moving away from Jurassic Park. That's them flying through with the blue trails. And they've ended up maybe taking a little bit more of a eastern position in the next zone.
Yeah, I think they actually wanted that position that VK were holding on the fence line. But because they don't get it, they will take the evac, go over the top of them, and just trade a little bit of, you know, some shields there. Just to take up a position in between the rocks, which is, like, honestly one of the best boxing positions in this area. There's just so much cover. there's so many good spots to put the pylon down. It's very hard to sneak anything past a team who sits in there, honestly. So yeah, I like this spot for DreamFire.
For Heroes, pretty well holed up as well. Not going to need to be doing too much moving and shaking just yet. A lot of teams have made their rotation in, but honestly, there's still quite a number of teams taking a bit of a slower approach. And they'll be making sure they get all their looting done before they even start to move. Most teams on the outside edges of Storm Point actually haven't even started moving. So I'm talking teams North Pad, down Beast, the Wall. It's not really seeing too much movement from those teams. Cenote Cave, X and Y are definitely taking their time down there as well. Even sent JR out to Barometer to do a bit more looting. So they're going to come in quite fully stocked. Aware that they're not really going to be able to make it into the zone and get a strong position locked down early. So they'll just take that extra time to make sure they've got the resources to fight edge.
Yep, so you see NoCredit taking the building opposite Heroes there. And Cheeky... There's kind of two options when you get into one of these situations, right? One of them is you can split hold the buildings. That's a lot riskier. You really need to have faith in all your teammates to kind of make that work. And they go for the safer option, which is just to take one of the buildings. But that's why Cheeky was kicking down the doors then, because he wants to make sure that they can get in, you know, have more angles, and be able to do more damage to Heroes. Get grenades in whenever they need to, have the team across from them. So just a nice little heads up play if you have a little bit of time and you're in one of those areas where there's quite a few buildings.
Barbecue might be into the thick of things fairly shortly. Pop Beast of the Hunt, and Bigsy is going to get knocked down early at the hands of a remarkable team who didn't really have quite the remarkable start to the day. Going to be a little bit below par for them in that first lobby, and they'll be trying to make amends for that here. It's a bit of a risk that they're going to be taking, and risk is actually, funnily enough, quite low. This early fight could be problematic for them. They've lost Kongbai, he's down on the floor. The res is going to come through, and in the meanwhile, Risk will be healing up. So, all things considered, for a remarkable team. I thought it was going to go well. It hasn't quite. They do trade back in the end. Barbecue eliminated, and also, it has to be said, Fruit Salad taken down at the hands of VP, who know that they're kind of on their last chance. This is their last attempt that they can make to potentially get into that top 20, make it to the regional finals, which it feels quite a far-fetched storyline, to be honest, here for VP. They would need to, I think they would need to win this lobby, and then they probably need another couple of things to go their way to even have a chance. Haven't really run the numbers necessarily as to whether or not it is definitely impossible. I think there might still be like a slim chance, but hey, you got to start well, and VP at least have.
No, it's a win or nothing, Elfish. Yeah. So it is mathematically impossible, I believe, with a second place for them to make the top 20. It is possible if they win the lobby, but that is the only way forward.
Yeah, but even in that case where they win the lobby, like, I think there's potentially a world where
they
still get outplaced by a team.
Correct.
So, you know, your destiny is not necessarily 100% in your hands. If you could say, yeah, we win and then we're in, that would be better than, yeah, we win and then we might be in. Which is kind of the case for VP, but they've got to try and do what they can. By the way, it would, and it might be possibly going to happen right in front of our eyes. We'll have to wait and see how today plays out. Either way, RTG, yeah, we didn't really expect them to be having a fantastic time after that first fight, and it doesn't seem to have gotten any easier as they've gone on top of the Stormcatcher and lost a couple of members. Remarkable team eliminated very quickly after getting rid of a team themselves, so it didn't last very long.
KPG are one of the teams on the bubble here, so they just need like a sort of half-decent performance today, and that should be enough to keep them in the top 20. Any less than that, they do risk falling out. Any more than that, you know, well, that'll certainly do enough.
Wow, this one's going all over the place. It's gone hard, sort of southeast, and now it's gone northeast. Big pull, big shift. DreamFire, I read that one correctly. Remember commenting on that?
Exactly.
They landed in Jurassic Park, then they popped a balloon and flew over to exactly where they've ended up, and they've pretty much ended up center of this next zone. So
yeah,
it's a good read.
That's why VKG, that's why it looked like DreamFire also wanted that position, because it allows you to hedge your bets, because with the way the mountains are sort of in the middle there, the zone is probably either going to pull, you know, where it has, or it just stays over in Jurassic. And so playing that fence line gives you both options and priority into both of those zones. DreamFire have to take more of a gamble in evacing over them, but as you say, it was a gamble that paid off.
And we just got some footage of Weibo, who are yet to kind of get rolling today. This is their first game of the day. But they had a pretty stellar week last week. Kind of came out of nowhere in a sense, right? It's been a pretty slow season for Weibo, but they really popped off last week. It was kind of back to the form that we've become a little more accustomed to from that team. And kind of hoping that that's going to continue this week, although they're probably pretty safe inside that top 20. We still don't want to be kind of letting it slip and make sure that Weibo can peak at the right time. That, speaking of, is perfect timing from Evo's Predator to rock up for a knock onto Lahim of Heroez. And considering there was a res involved in that as well, this is not a very healthy looking Heroez at all, and they are just going to be swept aside by Evo's Predator, who continue their good run from earlier on today.
Wow, like so much dust. Evo's Predator easily winning that fight. NoCredit. They pushed out of the building just having a look, but got killed so quickly that they weren't even able to play a part in that fight, really.
X and Y on the move. Pretty close to Guild. It's a bit of an up and down week last week for Guild as well, just after getting signed into the new org. Looking to bounce back here. Some decent form in heading into the regional finals. Buki actually getting a knock onto Vixaria with the Sentinel. Might prompt a response from Guild. Doesn't look like they want to really overcommit to it. The zone pushing on their left is giving them another idea, but hey, maybe we'll not read into it. Maybe we'll just hear from the horse's mouth. Let's see what Guild are really thinking.
No, they just evac away.
That team's gonna come in either behind us or up on the above. Be careful.
I'm ranging.
I'm popping a medkit behind the struck.
Do we play for south side here? Or do you want to go?
Well, lots of people
There was
now.
there was
Okay.
no, all of this was free before. In Jurassic.
Yeah, they're all on the right side. People fighting just here. Yeah, we can look that done. We can get kills here, and then
We have to be careful of that team on our back.
yeah. Some might still wrap spiders as well. Yeah, top spiders is running at green. Yeah, wrap. Go Jurassic.
Have a minute.
Yeah, I still have one evac. You have an evac as well. I just got a knock.
Yeah. I want to see a 70.
Yeah, going. Yeah, they evac as we ran through.
Oh yeah. Check it.
Healing.
So anything?
Yeah. Look to the side, because you might be able to still play inside Jurassic. Yeah, it's still in.
Like that corner. They're staring at us from the small build.
Yeah, where are people? Like, when we
Came in tunnel as well.
Alright, fuck. Try make tunnel walk up front. We have to go to the building. Get tunnel walk up front.
Evacing from pylon side.
Yeah, I'm sliding down.
Tunnel should just go the other way.
Yeah, just have to make sure they do.
He's out, peeking out the front of it now.
Make it. Gonna walk up.
It's going back. They're still in that small building, you're like, okay?
Yeah,
I can wall across. Let me just play left side.
Yeah,
Should be
yeah,
free.
yeah, go for it. Bang with board as well.
Watch out far back. You can still shoot us.
Yeah, no smoke for 8. We're fine. Just come left and we'll be safe from it.
I don't have scan for 8.
Hey,
I'm starting to
safe
like
on me.
Yeah. We're good.
Make sure the team doesn't come on our back. They're bang
We're getting bang ulted on our back. I'm safe on me.
Yeah, I'm playing a biggie.
I'm safe here as well.
Yeah. They're walking up. We have to kill these guys.
I just got stunned. Fuck.
Just can't hit.
Nading them. They're running at us. I got 100 bang it.
I got banged as well.
100 on cat.
I'm batting.
I'm batting.
They're peeking.
You got scanned on your opposite side.
I'm getting swung in the back.
These guys in the zone. Blood play.
Good blood.
Nice. One more.
All right. Well, Guild Esports, it was so calm until it wasn't. They have actually managed to survive by the skin of their teeth for the moment, but SaWeiQi rampaging their way forward will eventually finish it off. So that was certainly 0 to 100 for Guild Esports, really, wasn't it?
And it was so close to making like a killer play there, because basically whoever came out alive, whoever was the one staring at the death boxes in the end is just going to have such a good spot in this final circle. VP, they were the team that came out of the tunnel and died first in that fight. And then Guild, unfortunately, yeah, just a little too much damage, and SaWeiQi come over the top, and now they have, look at that, just staring down at the zone, sandwiched by mountains. That is a killer spot for SaWeiQi to be playing.
Yeah, lost a lot of teams in the meanwhile there as well, haven't we? We're down to 9 squads remaining, only 23 players. KPG solo, VKG also a solo, so there's a couple of teams that are quite wounded indeed. Not a huge amount of cover inside of the next couple of rings, so most teams are trying to keep themselves outside for the meanwhile. But sooner or later, zone shift will come through, 10 seconds or so before that one eventuates. DreamFire might be in the pick of the bunch. Done a pretty good job of reading this zone. This is working out perfectly for DreamFire. As of yet, not a huge amount of points on the board, just a 4 for that team. But they're a team that tends to accelerate pretty late in the rounds, so I await eagerly the opportunity to see what DreamFire is going to do with this.
I do like their position. Final Dream might be able to play a decent spot just south of them. EVOS Predator have actually given themselves a nice little vantage point here as they watch the teams come out of those buildings. DreamFire also being a bit aggro and pushing forward to sort of work with the EVOS Predator in trying to eliminate those teams who are coming in now.
DreamFire setting themselves up. Slow and steady wins the race in circumstances like this, because there's going to be a little bit of a mess as these teams push their way in, and you can see that for Rogers, who's just popped out of the wall straight into a huge crossfire between the EVOS Predator members, and just nothing he can do about that one at all. EVOS Predator are going to try to push the issue as well. They're going to go up over the wall, True eliminated, and they are doing a good job of clearing out the northern side of this zone, which is exactly what they need to do, because they've still got to find a way to make a big cross themselves. Right down the bottom of the rocks. Really not trying to push the issue too much. It's going to be pushed for them though, as MXF go down and try to take the fight to DreamFire. Might have been a little bit over eager. They're going to be shot in the back. It's EVOS Predator that take the opportunity and try to run with it. MXF, I'd be surprised if they get away with too much here. They're all stuck behind that one rock. The nades are going through. The push is in as well, and EVOS Predator, another clean couple of frags for them. Still hunting for that last remaining member, and they found him. MXF done and dusted. And easy as you like, we'll turn that attention straight onto DreamFire. It just seems like EVOS Predator are putting absolute roll on the game at the moment.
Incredible. Every fight they take, they look like they're in such good shape, but this one is against DreamFire, and when you're against I Hate the World, you've got to be so careful. NoCredit are going to be the final team to pull in here, and I don't know if EVOs have got enough to make this work. No, I don't think so. All 3 NoCredit members still alive. But yeah, look, the round is closing, Elfish.
Probably a bit too much to ask for them to continue to roll through teams like that, but I mean, that's a great start to the series, and you get a lot of kill points on the board. Yeah, you're still in the top 4. They actually have a player alive who might be able to rat a placement point or 2. That's FAFA5, who is hiding out on the eastern side of the zone at the moment. SaWeiQi is going to be the big point of contention. They're the team sitting inside the center of the zone. EVOS Predator in the meanwhile was eliminated, was found out by SaWeiQi. And have a look at Final Dream's position up on the northern side. They are getting that push in onto the last remaining members of NoCredit, so they've secured top 2 for themselves, but now they've got to push their way into SaWeiQi, who I would argue are a little better set up. They don't know they're on the other side of the rock. What? How on earth has that lasted for that long? Eventually the information comes through for Donut, but he was literally just standing there. They were both railing their opposing teammates, but not paying any attention to one another. Eventually, SWQ will turn around and finish it off. They had such strong positioning at the end of that game that for Final Dream, it was always going to be a difficult one to make work. But look, you'll definitely take a second there.
Yeah, it was another great win for SWQ. You know, we've seen them in the past be able to create so much space for themselves. A little bit of a funny tango there on the rock indeed, Elfish, but you know what? They managed to just be able to clear backs and push forward, and this is something this team sort of always does. They really read the zone well and make sure that they have the most room just to be able to, I guess, complete and take that win. But, you know, it was, I guess, make or break for a couple of these teams. EVOS Predator still seems to be keeping momentum, Elfish. You know, this is their 7th game of the day. You know, they played in the previous matches, but I think they got huge kills again. So, you know, they really understand the assignment. They know that they need to do well in these matches to push themselves up into a good position with top 20 teams for regional finals. So I really feel like they're going to do well in the next couple of games.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even necessarily just about like getting yourself in a position inside the top 20 that's like a solid spot, but it's also, I think, a lot of a confidence, sort of momentum type conversation in times like this as well, because if you're feeling good coming out of the final week of the regular season, going into the regional finals, right, you're going to be feeling good going into those regional finals as well. You'll be feeling comfortable, and, you know, the team will be in good spirits and stuff like that, and that can sometimes be overblown a little bit, can sometimes be oversold, but you know, every little bit counts, every little bit of an advantage, even if it is a 1%er or a 5%er, you definitely do want to be sort of taking that and running with it and peaking at the right time. That's the important thing about formats like this one. But SWQ certainly did a good job there. 11 kill win for them. Final Dream, 6 kills, 2nd place. No shabby performance, though. I think it is worth mentioning that EVOS Predator, they just ran through a bunch of teams, didn't they? 12 kills in that game. They finished top 4. That's, again, a really nice sort of continuation of the work that they were putting in the first lobby that we saw today.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You know, they're just on a steamrolling path. You know, we usually see that from, you know, the likes of Weibo. But, you know, they are absolutely bringing it in today. And also, I guess NoCredit, they're sitting in 3rd as well. It's a team that, you know, we haven't really talked about much in the split, but they seem to be calling these zones extremely well. You know, with the, I guess, the addition of Lux coming in, they've been absolutely decimating in these final zones. Their cohesion has been incredibly well, so props for them, I guess, putting in that 3rd, which brings them to 4th here, 10 total points. So it's great to see them sort of in contention to even push their way up further. So great start for NoCredit, but yeah, we can't take that away from SWQ out in the lead with 23 points. Elfish, they just had that game in the bag.
Yeah, most definitely. It was the position that they were able to take just outside of Jurassic Park that was what was kind of highlighted by Genome as that fight sort of ensued. He was saying, like, once you get this position, you're in such a good spot to kind of close this game out. And they very much were so. Like, they were on that quiet side of the zone. They were able to kind of take the third parties when they wanted them. And inevitably, they were able to work their way into a strong position in the final zone without too much furor, right? Not too many teams were really looking at them. The most of the fighting was going on the northern side. On the eastern side, they were coming in kind of from like south, sort of southwest type angle. So yeah, they were very chill, very relaxed, and happy to go through and grab that dub.
Yeah, it's something we always see from WQ, especially on Storm Point. They just seem to be able to create that space for themselves. But we are going to take a short little break, so don't go anywhere, as we will see you shortly for match number 2.
tricked you. Whew. Glad I got that off my chest.
Tell Death I said hello.
I will, Fanta.
And welcome back, everybody. If you're just joining us, that was our first game for Groups B versus C, where we have the stakes very high as we just in the last couple of matches for our triple round robin. SaWeiQi taking the win with 11 kills, putting them in first with 23 points. An exceptional start from them, shortly followed by EVOS Predator, who seem to be keeping the momentum going. Third place with 12 kills, now in second at 17 points. Elfish, they are going steamroll effect.
Steamroll effect, that is one way to put it. They're doing very well for themselves, I've got to say. I wasn't necessarily expecting that. What I was expecting was Weibo to actually come back in and do what they did last week. Now, eggs on my face, I'm just going to say, because they only got 2 points out of that first game. They got kind of wrecked while we were on the
fight to all these
if we go back and have a look at what they were able to bring
again.
last
Eviscerate,
week, they obviously just came out of nowhere. And I say came out of nowhere, it's not really true. We know that this is a great team. We know what they're going to be able to deliver when they're on. But the thing is, it just hadn't really been coming together for them in this split so far. And we sort of went into the previous week and we thought, well, they might be odds on to actually miss out on making it into the regional finals if they keep going at this rate. But that's not what happened. They pulled out 2 second-place lobbies in a row. Absolute dominance, really, across the board in both of those lobbies. And to be honest, there was a world it really felt like where they perhaps could have won either or both of those lobbies. They didn't quite manage to get it going, so the consistency wasn't 100% there from Weibo, but they did have some really, really big games in typical fashion for this roster. So be expecting to kind of see that again coming through this week. Now, it hasn't started well, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not going to at least see, you know, some fireworks come through for this team today. And that's kind of what I'm hoping to see. But in saying that, they've probably already locked themselves inside of that top 20 going into the next couple of weeks. And largely, that is thanks to Pete God, aka Gugu, who put on a phenomenal performance last week. I believe he was the player of the week last week. He was the top rated, whatever, everything, 32 kills, did what he needed to do, 18 assists, 11k damage. Huge stuff coming across. First in kills over the entirety of ALGS for all regions. So, yeah, huge stuff from him. And again, like, he's just such an exciting player to watch alongside, obviously, the rest of Weibo. They're just a super impressive team that when they get rolling, they are such a difficult team to beat in a straight up 3-on-3 aim duel. I'm waiting for them to kind of pop off again today. I know it's going to happen. We just got to wait and see.
That's it. You know, we talk so much about them in Split 1. You know, they were the team to go toe-to-toe with Legends Gaming. It was always Weibo or Wonton Dumpling, you know, that kept having to, I guess, overchange Legends Gaming. We saw them on the live stage. We know that they definitely can take themselves all the way to LAN, you know. And like you said, we're a little bit scared of for them in the first couple of weeks. But yeah, after last week, Elfish, they just seem to have flipped the script, turned it around. And it's super awesome to see Gugu, you know, get those top player stats because he's such an exceptional player. You know, they all are. So it's really nice to see them get the team cohesion back together and be able to do what they can do. But let's go and head on into our next match. This is going to be game number 2 on Storm Point.
It is indeed, and we are on the downhill stretch now. 5 games to go, 2 of which are going to be here on Storm Point. Yeah, a little bit of an uncharacteristic early exit from Weibo, but I don't know if it's really fair to even say uncharacteristic early exit, because quite frankly, Juno, I do see them kind of get knocked out early sometimes. It's either, I feel like with Weibo, they either have like a really big game and like kind of just roll through their opponents, or they get knocked out pretty early on in the piece. So maybe a bit live by the sword, die by the sword.
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, it was a strange turnaround from LAN, wasn't it? It felt like they just had the wind knocked out of them after their disappointing performance at the Split 1 playoffs, and it's taken them so long to get that confidence back in them to, you know, to get the sails buoyed up again. So can the great performance that we saw from them last week, you know, is that enough to get them back into that Split 1, you know, that mindset, that place where they were the best team in APAC South? Or was it just a glimpse of their former glory, and they're gonna go back on the shelf for the last couple of games?
Yeah, I certainly hope not, because look, if I had to pick, like, I don't know about you, but if I had to pick one team who I thought was like the most exciting team to watch, like if I would just sit there and watch their POV, I mean, look, it might be Legends Gaming, let's be real, but failing that, I think maybe I would pick Weibo. They're just such a fun team to watch when they get that roll on. Sort of in the same vein as like what EVOS Predator did at the back end of the last game, except Weibo kind of maintain it for an entire game and actually go on to win. Like, in that position, it's like Weibo would go on to win that game. That's what it feels like when you're watching them and they've got that role. So I hope that we get that kind of vibe from them again at some point tonight. That'll be fun to watch when we get there. But I digress. We do have a little bit of stoush happening over Lightning Rod, which is not really something that you'd be expecting to see all the time, but here we are.
Yep, that'll be Grape Soda and KPG, who traded the first kill. Once again, we're seeing a little bit of Horizon back in these lobbies. Both of the teams opting to run that, with KH as well as Fussy on the hero, but his Hemlock is better. And all of a sudden, it's just Tree Cleaner left alive. And as seems to happen so often in these Lightning Rod battles, as soon as one team, fails to get the upper hand, yeah, they just take the easy way out, and you'll gravity cannon out of there and try and maybe go back for the banners later, or maybe just try and rat it out yourself. It's the tried and true exit strategy from Lightning Rod.
There is no easy way out, Genome. Winners never quit and quitters never win. All right, that's the mentality you've got to be bringing.
All right.
So Tree Cleaner, he's just taking the scenic route. Let's just go with that. He's taking the scenic route. He'll come back stronger and better than ever. Hopefully, at least that'll be what Keep Going Gaming are going to be trying to keep their mantra as, because time's kind of running out for him to get those banners. He might not actually have the chance. It might have to be a solo mission for the end of the game here. But on the other hand, EVOS Predator doing such a great job at the moment. 17 points. Continuing to put together a very, very good day for themselves. And locked up at the wall. Zone's pulling in their direction. All things pointing towards another good game from EVOS Predator. A remarkable team, on the other hand, didn't really have the start to this lobby that they would have liked. And it's been a bit of a tougher day for a remarkable team, actually. So maybe things not quite coming together on the final day of competition, but still not in the worst of spots. Probably should still be able to make it through to that final 20 pretty comfortably.
Yeah, at times remarkable team have looked like they would live up to their name, but EVOS Predator have certainly been the more remarkable of the two so far today, and they look like they're very much on track to, well, they're still a ways away from making their first ALGS LAN, but they're not that far at all now from at least making it through to the regional finals.
Good shots in there from Sharky. It's not exactly the most valuable of positions to really be fighting over, and Virtus.pro are aware of that as well. They've scanned that next ring, so they're going to be on the move. 12th at the moment. Again, as we sort of highlighted for VP, it is a win or nothing. They need the maximum 25 points out of this lobby, or there's no chance they make it through to the regional finals, even with the win. It's an outside shot, I would say. So a lot of work to be done for them, but maybe they just don't have the time to do it in. And so we'll go over to X and Y, who are doing a little better.
Or DreamFire.
That's true.
Also picked up a few points in that first game. They're sitting down at the bottom of that zip line, and that's perfectly central in the zone right now. Ooh, KPG, there we go. They finally do get eliminated. Grape Soda very much within the zone, waiting for that to finally come back around. But yeah, in 20 seconds, we'll get that sort of idea of where this zone pulls. Does it go further down towards Cascade Falls? Do we see it go central, or does it pull up towards wall? Like, people are all spread around at the moment. I think I like the positions of people like Heroez or True, who are holding the chokes that go down towards North Pad, because they've given themselves quite a few options. And as it pulls, it very much pulls towards the waterfall, towards like the entrance of Command Center and Cascade Falls. So, interesting pull here. We're going to have a lot of people definitely coming down slopes here.
We're going to have to hold that thought.
Yep.
Because Akuma looking like they want to get into a bit of a stoush, right? Like, Beast of the Hunt has been popped. So Snoop's looking for it, but that's timing out without really too much effectiveness at all, actually, in the end. A little bit of spam goes through, but realistically speaking, this fight will peter out into nothing. And, well, not that it will peter out into nothing, but it's not going to really work out for Akuma, who, to be fair, also have quite a long distance to travel here. And, might be in a spot above them now, although the shots are good, and somehow Walsh is going to win that fight. Oh, dearie me. Should not have been able to get away with that one. Trade does come back on through pretty quick from Snoop, but Akuma handling this one okay for now.
Maybe even get the res off. Bigsy, he's looking for this. No, he's going for the gravity cannon. Does make his way up to Stormcatcher. Will they go for the chase, or will they just go for the reset? Oh man, that's I don't know if I've seen that finisher before, but I love it.
You give him the us in the side of the, you know? Ever felt like that kind of vibe before? It's probably better if you say
all
no,
the time.
Just for what it's worth.
All the time.
Okay, well, there you go. The news is, Gino wants to stab people. There you go. He's just not having a good day. Sometimes you gotta let the emotions out.
In-game.
In Apex Legends. Well, Zone Shift, as you can see, as you were highlighting, Gino, has gone down to the southeastern side. It's between Command Center, Cascade Falls, SWQ. Could they go back-to-back? Are they set up in a position to potentially win this game again? Obviously, that's the high ground on this side. So if they do actually manage to keep Akuma at bay and, you know, maybe deal with one or two of those teams that might come down through from Command Center, which would be NoCredit, maybe potentially Weibo, they would actually clear out the top side of that that high ground. And that would be a fantastic position to play from for SWQ.
I mean, at this very point, Guild, you can see they're scanning. They're like, wait, what? There's nobody in the entirety of Cascade Falls. Currently, VK Gaming are split holding 3 different buildings. And obviously, Guild, they've got this information. So do VKG, by the way. So VK, because no one else was around, they actually had the opportunity to get the third ring scan, because there is a ring console within Cascade Falls. So that's incredibly valuable to these 2 teams. And it's just a little bit sad for Guild that at some point probably more teams are going to pull up and get you know, buildings which are inside the 4th ring, whereas they're only okay, now they're moving across to market. I like this. The scans probably came out there from Bugi, and VKG know that they can't really stay there while they're on scans and just get 3-man swung on.
Well, X and Y on the move as well, so that'll be another team that SW potentially has to deal with if the push continues to happen, which it will. That'll be the direction X and Y are headed in, though they've been held up now by Akuma. And Rolling Thunder going to go down. Not going to cause too many problems for either of those teams by the looks of things. More of a zoning ulti than anything else. Those shots going in onto Crazy Kong of SWQ. Just keeping those guys honest. X and Y are actually in a bit of a spot bottom now, because they're stuck between 2 teams. They're in a bit of a sandwich. Zone's pushed in past them, and they've got to make a decision. Do we go south? Do we go north? Either way, we're having to fight our way in. Surely you don't want to go north. You don't want to be pushing up that hill to try and fight into SWQ. I just don't think that works.
Well, especially not when you're going to have Barbecue pulling up in a second as well. Those guys are evacing from deep in zone. They're going to pop medkits and then essentially just have to fly all the way in. But SWQ are actually looking for it. We're a little bit further up here at the entrance to Command Center. That's where NoCredit are trying to hold this out as a duo. And actually, that's where Barbecue end up going. They're going to go straight into this entrance. And they're kind of split. They've got 2 members of Weibo Gaming behind them. And then Pete got himself on the front end. Where do you go?
Well, Big C's going to have to hit some big shots with the Peacekeeper, and he has a nice two-piece straight onto Pete God, and that is the end of Gugu. Weibo, a big loss indeed, but it might still be recoverable. Quick Trade does come back on through. Weibo 2-on-1. Pushing their way forward as well. Barbecue do get eliminated. They still need to deal with NoCredit, who's causing a bit of a ruckus here in Command Center as well. And there's a lot of teams moving in this direction. They're hearing that dinner bell being rung. There's a lot of noise being made in this engagement. That's some good shots from Lux. This is going to be enough to save the day. Movement being a bit of a problem. Can't deal with the tracking, and NoCredit are eliminated at the hands of Weibo, who have gotten 5 points out of this round, but I think that might be about the best that they're going to get, because there is still another team that they have to deal with. There's going to be a remarkable team looking in for that third party, and that's it. That's the end of Weibo. So again, another early exit for this team that should be putting such big numbers on the board. The action doesn't stop. It's X and Y out now as well. Goodness me. When is this going to slow down?
Yeah, that was a little cray. I mean, Weibo went from having a great spot holding at the edge of zone there to, I guess the real problem was that they got split and allowed themselves to be split by, who was the first? Was it Remarkable Team, the first team that flew in there? No, that was the last team. Barbecue was the team, yeah, that evac'd in and caused them so many problems. And then, yeah, everyone else ends up following suit into the grave. But now we go into Cascade Falls. And SWQ, once again, they found themselves in a nifty little spot. We'll get to them later because they're pretty safe for now. And we've got to worry about, I mean, there's about 10 teams up the top here. As you can see, you were just getting into all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, LGD doing a real number. 1, 2, 3. And that might just be the end of this team out of Command Center. Remarkable gone. Again, pretty early on in the piece, same kind of vibes as their last game. They had 1 or 2 good fights, and then they were done and dusted. Perfect timing on the alternator pylon. Dealing with some of that util that was tossed on in, but it really isn't going to matter for LGD. They get cleaned up by the bullets anyway. Nothing's going to stop that. The Grape Soda take themselves a nice little fortress on top of the hill, even a full-strength alternator pylon to work with.
Now they'll have a little bit further to go as they go down through the spiders. There's you know, there's lots of cover around the spiders, the crates, plenty of room up there to work with. Won't be quite as good as the SWQ position, especially with some other teams that are sending towards here, and everyone who's coming out of Cascade Falls down at the moment. There's so many teams running straight past each other with barely a smoke between them to try and make their way up the hill.
Yeah, this is a very messy part of the map now, Cascade Falls. There's a lot of teams congregating in on it. Guild Esports might be one of the teams that's best situated to deal with that, though. They were well set up already early in Cascade Falls. DreamFire, third party, in onto MXF. We'll finish off a little bit of looting here. And we'll see how DreamFire negotiate their way through the rest of this ring, because they've got quite a lot of free space, so they've got a lot of ideas, a lot of things to do. Let's have a listen in and see how they're feeling.
我看到右边，
开右边，皮特开右边，
可以回舔皮的，你如果确定安全可以回舔。有人飞，有人飞，
飞哪？
咱有书吗？给我来本书，有大了。
我有，
我丢了。
扫右边可以吗？扫右边可以吗？
扫一下右边，扫。能不能把蜘蛛杀了，兄弟？要不然等下，我们得看好屁股，看好屁股。我看好屁股。
你们看，我看前面，我看前面。
等下蜘蛛会打我们的。
我看前面，没事，不用管我，不用管我。
我看了屁股，安全啊。
哎，我这右边能很多分，真的，我还要去拿点分。
屁股没人了，甚至。
我这边有很多分，
你俩看前面，你俩去看，确定屁股没人，确定屁股没人是吧 ？OK， 没看到。这边。我们要吃兄弟，
我得夹右边拿点分，真的。
你们俩要去是吗？我用去吗？
过来，
我用去吗？
这全分，兄弟。
我要去吗？慢点。
可以来。
不行，我不能放假，我这点太好了。
好。看往上走，抽大，3分之抽大，照到一个，抽大。
视野不好。88，
抽大，出上面那个人。
一滴血。
没杀到。
我狙了他88，你们别死的情况下两个了，剩一个。
有领队，别急，有领队，他要被领队清，
领队脚下3个人。
我感觉我们得把这边都杀了，真的。
是可以杀。我不去行吗？我这边爆了，死完一队，
我被图灵打了，
是3个队，
底下一队，图灵一队，
3个队，探圈一队，你们右下一定看好。 我看清楚。
右下再爆，右下再爆，上好了。
我给扫，
给扫，我出来脚底，
我打电，帮不到你。
打。
我们下波得贴这儿，听了吗？我们得干右边，我们不能让右边上来，只要右边不来就行。
填。
我要输核能量弹，我要输核能量弹。
给我扫，
有扫，我要输核能量弹，听了吗？
有扫在前面。
扫，
没输，没看到。
没输。给我扫了，
有扫吗？
扫了，看一下。
扫。
把他往右赶就行，你们别跟他硬打，把他往右赶。我在赶。
碎啊，爹没？
我看不到。
狗子130。有大吗？3分之。
我有大。我们脸上有地方踩，听到吗？
我
们脸上贴了。
他是不是下来了？我们好像得打压他。
我们有地方踩吗？有。下波往这中军点给烟给大就行。
有点烂。
我们
我要不行我反斜，怎么说？
踩这反斜我标点了，不烂。
我
去了。要不扫吧？
我也去。
扫。
底下会上来炫。
不是底下不会上来吗？
他有绳，可能会上。
我过来拍个大。慢点，我过来拍个大。小心被爆。我拍大了。
他队友离得很远，能把节点真人赶走不？把节点真人赶走，他们都在。
拆了，把大型拆了。
节点远点100。
你得小心右手摸上来。
知道。
我在看右手。右手摸了。右手上了。小心。
他守在中间。
我给扫。119。跳去
我夹左边可以吗？我夹左边。
你压左边。我给你架
左边有危机。
我架右边。好，我跟无名架左边。
他压回来。
我们
左边倒一个，别接，左边倒一个，两边都得下。
能补吗？我架右边。
不太行，我给原先。
我看不到。
节点，这倒了2，能够爆了。
5秒扫。
DreamFire slowly working their way into a great position here. SaWeiQi, they played the high ground from where the survey beacon was very well. And they both sort of shoved VK Gaming into a corner. They can come up the zip line very soon. But this has been a fascinating jockeying of position between these last 3 teams.
Yeah, I mean, it's been quite a slow burn, hasn't it? It sort of feels like we're in a pressure cooker and we're waiting slowly but surely to see how it's going to eventuate. That devotion does a lot of damage, but VK Gaming don't actually manage to get a knock. They'll instead opt to take out the alternator partner, and now those ArcStars nades can start to get tossed into the direction of DreamFire. SaWeiQi for the moment keeping their heads down and looking to go back to back. This would be a great start to the lobby for SaWeiQi if they could do so.
I mean, they've put themselves in insane positions 2 games in a row. The macro from SaWeiQi is just unbelievable here, that what we've seen from them.
And they're not even really having to get involved in this engagement at all. Maybe a couple of shots from VK Gaming into SaWeiQi, but I wonder if they're running out of meds. I saw Yuling there. Looked like he needed a med kit. Hasn't popped it as of yet. Quick look back over. Looks like they're okay. Never mind. Don't worry about that one. Just really trying to keep their heads down and try to stay as hidden as possible. I mean, it's a fairly central position for SaWeiQi, more so than for VK and DreamFire, who will have to move as this zone pushes out their back, and that is happening right now. Beast of the Hunt has been popped by 951. VK Gaming, we're going to try and get that info as best as possible. They're up over to the bins, but still nothing being given to them by DreamFire, who are now actually coming around the backside potentially of SaWeiQi.
No.
This gets really messy in a moment.
Yeah, look, DreamFire, they have to move first. This is not a good spot for them. I hope the world goes down first.
Yeah, shots coming across. Crazy Kong getting that knock. DreamFire, don't know if they're going to really be able to afford to find that revive with the zone pushing at their back. They're going to use that shield as a bit of portable cover, but it's not going to get you past SaWeiQi. You'd have to imagine. The only thing is going to be, though, SaWeiQi also now have their attention turned in the direction of VKG, who have just eliminated DreamFire. Now it's on for the world. 3-on-3. SaWeiQi try to pounce upon VKG. Hemlock comes out, doesn't quite manage to do the job, and VKG will walk away with the win. SaWeiQi were patient, but they couldn't wait any longer. VKG ultimately get a dub.
It's just fascinating how it plays out in those 3-team situations, those Mexican standoff slates, where essentially, you know, at certain times throughout that whole last minute, like one team's in a better position, but then, you know, as the circle constricts, they lose a piece of cover. They have to go, all of a sudden, they're in the worst position out of the 3, and it's really how you leverage your angles as that goes on.
Yeah, it almost looked like, VK Gaming were going to go down. We saw, DreamFire removing MXF and being kind of the king of the hills for quite some time, like in that final zone. And then applying pressure to all the chaos below, they didn't manage to get, as many kills as they could have in that situation. But VK Gaming just biding their time down below. DreamFire, I guess, had the potential to kind of sit on that cliff edge to force VK Gaming to stay down below, but instead, they sort of swung against SaWeiQi, which allowed VK Gaming to sort of find their way up that zip, which I guess, in a sense, could have costed them the game, Gino.
I mean, it seemed a little bit lucky for VKG that there weren't, multiple bang ults going their way, or, just like arc stars littering the zip line as they came up it, and they would have been completely done for. But just too much tension between those top three teams, and VKG and SaWeiQi will walk away with the lion's share of the kills out of those three. Yeah, still a few going the way of teams further down the list. Grape Soda even managing to come out with 5, and Akuma almost also grabbing a couple. But yeah, VKG, wow, they've just gone from strength to strength really this season.
Yeah, no, they absolutely have. And yeah, it looked like, they were not going to sort of even make it up that zip. But of course, that area sort of created a bit of space for them to pop up and take that win. Not only that, but with 10 kills. So that's absolutely insane. Quite a few teams actually in those top positions, Gino, without any kills at all. Which is quite interesting to see. But here we go, SaWeiQi still out in front. They did enough in that game, I guess, to sort of keep that lead. But, VK Gaming taking that win and a fair few kills has pushed them over EVOS Predator. Insane.
Oh my god, 40 points after 2 games. That is a monster performance here by SaWeiQi. All of a sudden, I don't think we've been talking about them for like LAN contention so far, so much this season, or this split lace, but I think it's time to start doing it, because they were 9th, so only 2 spots, only 4 split points off the pace coming into today. A win would be very close to putting them, locking them in for LAN.
Yeah, no, it's been so good watching SaWeiQi. I sort of complimented them with Elfish before on the way that they are able to take space and find these final zones so well and control it for so long as well. The pressure was sort of put on from them from DreamFire, but still, I guess, holding on against such a devastating team that are, really, really trying their best to push their way up that leaderboard, but they just seem to be able to hold it together in those final zones. So yeah, SaWeiQi, this is something that I love to see from them. And moving forward, I think that they're just going to keep performing. We are going to take ourselves a short little break though, so don't go anywhere, because we'll be right back to show you some more Apex Legends action. again, there we have it. Game number 2 locked away, and we just witnessed VK Gaming push their way up about 7 spots from having a huge 10-kill win. But, you know, it wasn't enough just to take over SWQ, who are out in the top position at 40 points. They're 14 points ahead of VK Gaming at the moment. So SWQ having that win in the first match under their belt was huge. And not only that, you know, the second game, they're popping out in second, I think it was second position with a fair few kills. So VK Gaming, you know, winning the second match was a huge feat for them, but, you know, yet they still have a little way to go to sit at that top position. Genome, this is getting juicy.
Yeah, it is, and like it's been some juicy performances from VK Gaming as well so far this split lace. I mean, obviously last week they had a dub, and that I think was really starting to show us what these guys have made of. They've had some performances in previous splits and years where they've looked like they maybe could challenge, but, you know, they couldn't quite string together enough performances to make it to land. This time, they're all but confirmed. They've racked up enough points now that we can basically count them in. And looking at their style that they've played so far, I really like how they're utilizing the Watson. Like, if I had to give them a nickname, it'd be like the Kings of AFK. They're so good at just like finding a spot early on and then just sitting there and twiddling their thumbs for the longest time. You know, if they have to take an early game fight, you know, quite early on for those positions, they haven't been as successful doing that. But just like we saw in the game then at Cascade Falls, if they can make their way into the last game, like even thinking about how they just chilled down at the bottom of that zip line, right? It kind of felt the same, where it's like, you know, if they can find a position where they like avoid conflict until, you know, they have to put their lives on the line. And obviously they're no strangers to getting into a fight, and they've definitely got a lot of firepower behind them. But it seems to be that they don't get into those ultra risky fights. They don't get into these fights that, you know, cause them too much problems. And they only take them when they have to. And that results in some pretty awesome consistency from these guys, and being able to make it into those late games in very strong positions with that Watson composition.
You're so right. Their fights are so calculated. You know, they find those positions early, as you said, and they're not taking, I'm going to say, dumb fights, you know, but when the pressure is applied, you know, we always see such fantastic clutches by them. And, you know, especially, like you said, playing that Watson, it's been so exciting to see them absolutely just, you know, be able to come from, you know, 2 knocked players to taking the win. You know, they are really, really performing well. And like you just saw on that series leaderboard, they're third. So that's under Legends Gaming and Makers. So let's go see if they can perform incredibly well in our next match. This is game number 3. We're back on Storm Point.
All right, back on to Storm Point once again. Rolling through things quite nicely, though, is SWQ. Big 40 points out of the first couple of games. That is a stellar start, and look, even VK Gaming with a decent finish there in Game 2 aren't quite holding a candle to that one. But it's only 2 games. It's not going to make the lobby done and dusted just yet, so we'll hold our horses and see how things play out for this final one on Storm Point for the evening. And a fairly central zone pull is where we're going to find ourselves. So not too many shenanigans in this one, though it might be a pretty hard zone to read.
Yeah, it's very central, and that does make it more likely to ping pong around. Interesting mountain placement, though. Makes you feel like, oh, that is tough to go. Like, does that go down to Jurassic, or does it actually just stay mid map?
Well, you know, let's actually just keep an eye on where DreamFire decides to rotate to, because they were pretty on the money for the first zone. And if they go roughly into the same position, then they'll be thinking, okay, this is where it's going to end up again, give or take. And they're already on the move. I can see Pete leading that rotation. They've ballooned their way forward. So, a few teams heading in that direction. Virtus.pro, again, another early rotator coming in. Little bit of a different rotation from these teams, right? So this zone is slightly more northern than the first zone, I want to say, rather than being a little bit more, you know, encompassing of Jurassic Park. It's gone a little higher up in towards Cascade Falls than what we saw for the first game. And so teams are opting actually to play a little bit more central rather than having a couple more teams down towards that Jurassic Park area, which is a little bit of a change up for the most part in terms of those rotations. But by and large, the idea is going to be the same. DreamFire kind of ending up in much the same vicinity as what they did, although they've actually occupied one of the buildings rather than the field outside toward that cliff.
Well, over here at Wall, I'm sure we'll get a good sense of where those teams are ending up, like right in the middle of the zone a little bit later, Fish, but okay, we'll take a look at some of them right now because they're actually getting straight into it, and that's SaWeiQi, VKG, even Virtus.pro here. It was VK. Oh no, is that the caster curse? We gave them too much attention at the start of this game, and they will lose a member early on here. Virtus.pro, of course, with the quick rotate through the from the Trident from Milt. DreamFire going to a similar position, not the rocks, but the building next to it, as from last time. VP, you know, you can't really go past them in the Trident. It's a little bit too risky, and so they play the next best spot they can find, which is, of course, this spider cave that joins that mid-map area to Jurassic Park.
Well, this building is starting to look a bit more like a fortress. What's going on here? MXF down to just Artorias. I don't think this is going to be a long-term play. Where would you hide? Where can you even hide if you're a solo right here? Is he even going to try and hide? I mean, I think hiding is probably going to be the death of you. You're just going to have to try and go for those banners and see if you can get lucky, maybe. I don't know. If you get the banners even, then how do you get out? How do you get the revive? It seems kind of doomed here for MXF. And it gets even more so with Guild landing on the other side of the river.
Agreed. Yeah, there's many teams that can spot him out here. He's actually looking at it right now. He can see DreamFire is still looting his boxes. And yeah, a little bit too risky. He's not going to go for it. Meanwhile, VKG also struggling with less than their full complement of members left alive. Oh no, Virtus.pro being pinched.
Yeah.
And as we said, you know, it's a first or nothing for these guys, and at this point looking less and less likely.
Well, yeah. I mean, we were grasping at straws really with that storyline to begin with, I think, right? Like the fact that it has to be a first, the fact that even if it is a first, then a lot of other results would have to kind of go their way for it to sort of line up. But it's really looking even less and less likely the longer this sort of goes on. They haven't really gotten it together for either of those first two games, eliminated very early in game 3 as well. So just don't think it's happening for VP. For some reason, it's just not their season, and that happens. They'll come back stronger, I'm sure. You know that this is a talented team, the players that are on that roster, but just something not working this time around, and do be like that sometimes, but rotation is coming through.
I mean, they've really struggled to find, you know, their play style. It feels like both edge and, you know, fast rotate styles haven't really worked from them. Every time they played edge, it's felt like, you know, they haven't really had the armors up in time, and the first fight they take is often a disadvantageous one. Unlike some of the other edge teams who seem to make things go their way. But
it doesn't seem to be going very well for Remarkable either. Just continuing to run into issues. Actually, a lot of time it is KPG that's causing this issue for them at Stormcatcher. So something that really kind of needed to be amended maybe a couple of rounds ago. It's too late now. Obviously, this being the last game on Stormpoint for the night, it doesn't matter whether you would make an adaptation here about your rotation path or timing. It's going to move on to a different map anyway, so it's not really much of a factor. It's a moot point now.
Well, they're always going to be on their backs, right? I mean, Remarkable team, they went ahead and chose Command Center, and KPG are behind them over at Lightning Rod, so they are always going to have to be watching their backs with that team around.
Okay, Gaming trying to put together another good game for themselves, but they're already down a member. The fight continuing to ensue. It'll just come down to QQ now, who is trying to take this fight in the 1v1. Damage going back and forth. We still hunt running out. Not really going to matter too much. The shots are good. And it is Barbecue to survive.
Okay, so Barbecue do actually come out on top there. Plenty of time to get it together here before perhaps they run into XMY over in Jurassic Park. Ooh, and yeah, with the zone, it actually does pull back a bit. Looks like we've got perhaps a little bit of a repeat down by the river.
Run it back. Yeah, it actually really is like... It's not quite, but it's very, very close to being a 1-for-1. It's just a little bit further south, maybe a little bit further out to the west, but it should play out roughly the same.
I mean, give it time, it could get there.
Yeah, exactly. So if we were to follow that kind of a train of thought, then we would say Akuma are in the pole position, although
it's really who ends up
in that position.
Exactly, right. When you got
may
X
not
and
necessarily
Y,
be them.
It could just be SWQ again. Maybe they make that late play. They're so good at determining the right time to come in for the third party.
What about fruit salad?
You know, it's like that they've texted everyone else before the party happens. They know when everyone else is gonna rock up, and they're always the last ones. They're always the coolest guys to the party. Like
there's no like awkward sitting around like the first person there for half an hour. I've done that guy a couple times. I'm always on time. That's the problem. And for me, on time is 10 minutes early.
Eating a whole bowl of Skittles before anyone else even turns up. Like
yeah, just me and the party host. Like, so it's cool. Anyway, I digress. SWQ have not moved just yet, but KPG, they've got a few things that need to be ironed out here. EVOS Predator being one of them, who are coming up from behind, who they've only just now been made aware of. It was Grape that was causing their issues from the top side. And now they're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. I'm not really too sure where you can go now if you're KPG. And it is down to just Tree Cleaner again for this squad. This will be the second time in a row that he's going to be the last alive, isolated, alone, praying to be able to get a shield bat off. We'll be able to do so. You can see they're just popping it at the bottom of your screens, but for all the good it's going to do for KPG.
I think he's about to get logged. He's on scan from Collapse. Both teams very well aware of his position. And there he goes. Topcaps does finally pick up the kill. And both teams, yeah, neither of them... Oh, actually, no. EVOS Predator do have this ring information, so they know they need to go further south. They just aren't really sure about how to make that approach just yet, or perhaps whether they want to go through Grape Soda.
X and Y are playing the patience game in this lobby so far. Only the 4 points. But it's okay. Good things come to those who wait. Will it come this game? Maybe. Depends on how they win this fight out of Jurassic Park. Zone pool. Where's the next one going to go? This is where things kind of start to get a little bit interesting. It's got to go back north, so...
Wow. Okay, wow. Now... You were saying, hey, let's just look where DreamFire go to predict the ring. Last time, they absolutely get it, you know, playing the rocks, going down into the river. This one doesn't. It actually goes towards the buildings, and lo and behold, DreamFire, that's exactly where they've chosen to play. Damn, they are reading these zones like a book.
They got that zone magnet. That's for sure. So LGD will move in next to DreamFire. Those are the two teams inside of the buildings in that final zone. Everywhere else, it's pretty open territory, so it's really going to come down to how well DreamFire and LGD can hold on to these two buildings. Both teams having the same composition, both with the Watson, so we'd love to see it. Both set up nicely, playing to their strengths. Weibo activating a spawn beacon. Hasn't really been Weibo's day. He kind of cast a curse guild last week with my team to watch, and I might have done the same with Weibo this week, it seems, so sorry guys.
Well, there's currently two duos in the sights of Fruit Salad here. And sure, Weibo have just got their third back, but oh my lord, these three teams are playing with fire, literal fire in the way of fuse ults coming down. But I don't know if any of them are going to survive this, because SWQ are going to be looking at this. And Heroez, okay, there you go. Weibo the first to go. Fruit Salad, are going to be just behind them, because there's no way that SWQ let these guys live.
No. Lahim. It's like a dead man walking, dead man batting. Either way, it's not going to work out. And Fruit Salad might be done as well. So that's rather unfortunate. Hey, you never know, alright? You got to keep fighting until the last breath. Who knows, like the game might bug out and you might stop taking damage from the zone. It's possible.
That's true, it is Apex.
I don't know if it's possible actually, but you never know. You never say never in a world such as this. And X and Y, well, they're going to try and push their way forward now as well. We talked about how important this position could be later on in the game, and they have just cleaned house onto Akuma. And speaking of MXF, still alive is Artorias as a solo. He's popped up in front of X and Y. I'm not sure what he's really hoping to achieve with this nade, but no damage coming through from that one. He's maybe just trying to steal away a knock or a kill, or... Yeah, was there only one player alive? Is that what it was? He's going in for that third party.
There's about 50 health between them at the moment. JR does get the bat off, though, so... Can Artorias do it? No, he doesn't. Oh, wait! He got the kill! He got the kill, he got the bleed out, right?
He got one, I think he got a re-knock onto XD, but then it was Guild that came through and obviously cleaned up that fight onto X and Y, which gave him that kill point. But yeah, he probably didn't get all three, you know, so...
That's a decent play for
might not have been as lucrative as it could have been, but as you say, yeah, you take that point when you can get it for sure. And Guild move into that territory, which ended up being quite so valuable in game 1. Maybe not quite as good here for game 3.
No, definitely not. Yeah, last time, you had a zone 4, zone 5 that was hugging the mountains down the bottom. This time, it's much further up, and someone like Barbecue, who have plenty of rocks to hide behind down the bottom, as well as some well-placed pylons, will be looking pretty good. Grape Soda. They've currently got NoCredit underneath them.
Yeah, well, a few decisions to make here for Grape Soda, so it might be interesting to hear how they work through that process.
Fighting out here.
Yeah, it's down here. Get ready to turn around.
Getting shot from across.
Use this to Ellis. They're about to climb over.
Yeah, but... Fighting.
Climbing over. Can we swing this? Come swing this. Come swing this.
Climb. Hit him 140.
I got fenced.
Another cracked one.
Shoot into a fucking fence.
Left flash.
Blood one dead.
Another one here. On you, pushing your left.
No.
Well, it hasn't worked very well there for Grape Soda at all, and you can hear the disappointment in their voices. They just kind of get rinsed a little bit. There was another team heading in that direction anyway, so NoCredit will also get taken down. That was at the hands of True. Guild Esports, on the other hand, are pushing their way forward. Vugi down inside all those smokes. Bad news for Guild Esports. Their eyes being pecked out one.
Yeah, they're getting sent on by several teams at the moment. As you can see, Final Dream, who you remember also had a good outing when we came down to this part of the map, are looking to repeat that performance. But, man, Barbecue here. I said they went up well, but unfortunately, the crushing weight of several teams above them is too much. SWQ, they were looking to see whether the South, the North was the play, and unfortunately, they got spotted out by True before they could make their way up to that most, up to the high ground, the northern building. And they're just so good at making these decisions seemingly today. SWQ, they pick the time, they pick the place. All of a sudden, they found respite here at the south of the map.
Yeah, DreamFire, I like this brand of Apex that they're bringing to the table right now. They've sort of played a calculated, aggressive style. They kept one player inside of the building, the other two pushing their way out, looking for some kill points, and doing pretty well for themselves in this game so far. They keep the building maintained, and they also put a bit of pressure on those teams that were south of them. Now that the ring continues to push in their direction, though, they're going to group back up. All three inside the building. Same strategy as what LGD were employing. And SaWeiQi, they're going to send it into LGD's building. Not quite into it just yet. Out on the porch. They've come over for a cup of tea, but there's no one ready and waiting with the shortbread biscuits. Not just yet. So SaWeiQi, they're angry. They're mad. They want to take this fight. But
where's the hospitality?
Perhaps the door's been left locked. SaWeiQi, though, actually just absolutely dominate LGD, and so they're going to ransack their way through the tea cabinet and take what they want.
My lord. That was a colonial play if I've ever seen one.
Yep. They just came in, stole their lands. So thank you very much for that one. And on to the next one, which might be DreamFire. That might be the next point of contention. 5th place for the lobby at the moment. It hasn't been a bad game at all. There's a Kraber out as well. That starts to make things a bit scarier.
They put a lot of pressure on the teams from the south as well. Rocking the odd red, blue armors. A little bit sus, but someone's been grabbing the Evo cases and leaving nothing for anybody else. That's what I'm seeing.
Well, it is the guy holding on to the Kraber, so I guess if you want to have anyone with reds, it's probably the guy with that weapon in hand.
Actually, you know what? I take it back. He's got 500 damage more than 3MZ, and he's got about 1,000 more damage than Pete. So maybe he did earn it.
Yeah, but he has a Kraber.
It's true.
So all's fair in love and war. Need to hit some good connections with that Kraber here in the end game if it's really going to amount to anything. So far, nothing. So DreamFire just take it a little bit slower. Take a chill pill for a moment. Bone actually is going to push them up the hill, which doesn't look very fun, especially considering there's still going to be SaWeiQi and Final Dream potentially to deal with as well. Papa's been knocked up on the roof. I don't know how easy that's going to be to find a res. Surely SaWeiQi don't allow that from inside their building, but as of yet, no real shots coming through from SaWeiQi. Is this just going to be true to a walk into an easy win? I don't know that that's necessarily the case, actually. Their zone control is not looking so fantastic anymore as they get pushed down past those rocks. DreamFire can still play inside the building. The wall up here, that's from True, but Grant's been knocked. God. And they're down to 2. There's no res available, certainly not. Rogers also getting dropped out of the picture, and it is surely not happening now for True as Vixeria, the last one alive. DreamFire have kept themselves healthy with 3. For the moment, Pete does get knocked back down by Casey Kong. Final Dream eliminated. 3 squads remaining. They're all wounded. It's an absolute mess. Kraber out here for I Hate the World, and he is going to have to leave the rest of the job down to 3MZ. SaWeiQi, 3 strong. Get it done again. 2 wins out of 3 games. And SaWeiQi looking fine today.
Nice work from SaWeiQi. That is an incredible set of games on the stream.
Yeah, has to be said. They are doing a fantastic job at the moment and really finding themselves in a lot of very, very strong positions. And just like kind of taking their time, biding their time, waiting until the explosive moment, and then getting the job done.
Just that confident push into the building, Elfish, you know, sitting on the veranda a little bit and just being able to push their way so easily into the building, and then having, I think it was LGD swing on them, but just eliminating them in a blink of an eye. Like this, no wonder this team has a second win under their belt. They are really bringing the heat today, and playing so strategically and moving on into zones with ease. You know, we do find them sort of circulating the edge of zone and then finding, you know, an easy spot in the final circle. But it just being able to fight through that has been exceptional to watch. You know, this is huge from them. You know, DreamFire had such a calculated zone call again. You know, this is something that they've been doing throughout, I guess, last week in these couple of matches. But, you know, it was a bit difficult for them. They were sort of sitting on blue shields for quite some time as they had that zone early on. It was a bit of a treacherous fight to sort of push out of zone. But yeah, this fight from SaWeiQi just could not even, you know, look away from that. It was just so exceptional from them, and they just had to sort of keep an eye on DreamFire and just get rid of them out of the pack, and it was just easy for them from here on.
Yeah, easy pickings for SaWeiQi, sort of being that last team really involved in that final skirmish, keeping themselves pretty healthy with the 3 players live made it for a pretty comfortable victory in the end. And well, there you go, 11 kill win for SaWeiQi. It's not a shabby result at all for them. DreamFire in for the 2nd place. Who missed out though? Again, Weibo didn't really put too much together. VP out in 20th with 1 kill. VK Gaming go from pretty much top of the scoreboard to the bottom, from one game to the next. So some big names still down towards the bottom end there, but their fortunes may end up changing on World's Edge.
Yeah, it's a bit of a tough fight for VK Gaming. I think at Jurassic, getting a couple of knocks, and I think Castle was sort of left alive to try and fend for themselves. But you know what? We've seen from VK Gaming, they can flip the script so easily. Yeah, maybe a sort of a knockout in 19th position, but, we've seen them sort of just be able to change that in a blink of an eye and get themselves another 1st place with ample amounts of kills. But look at that, SaWeiQi, 63 points. There is just no sort of catching them at this point. They've been sitting on the top of the leaderboard throughout these first 3 matches, and they just get themselves, quite a juicy win with 11 kills. And it's just insane. They're like almost, they're double our 2nd and 3rd position, Elfish. This is insane.
Yeah, look, I mean, they're on for a 120-point day. That would be pretty monstrous. I don't know that I'm necessarily going to say that is going to happen, but you just the sponge effect is crazy from them picking up, probably what, 30 points on what you would maybe expect to be at this point in the lobby. And just look at how little points that leaves for the rest of the lobby to go around. I mean, you've got still 1, 2, 3, 6 teams that haven't managed to make it into double digits. Another 3 on top of that who have barely made it into double digits, and like half the lobby's not even basically past 10 points. Like, come on. And then even then, Virtus.pro and Grape are on 12 apiece. So it doesn't really even start getting all that exciting until you get into like the top 5. That is a huge effort, sponging up all of those points from SaWeiQi. It surely can't be maintained, but fantastic stuff to start things off there on Stormpoint. And obviously they'll be liking to keep that going onto World's Edge, but it's a difficult task to keep up that kind of pace.
Yeah, it's we say that, but then sometimes they pull out something crazy. But just DreamFire also moving up 3 positions there, but still, I guess, not enough to sort of even get remotely to the top of that lead. But yeah, we're going to switch over obviously to World's Edge shortly. So, this sort of paves the way for hopefully teams like Grape Soda. They do quite well on World's Edge. So they could sort of pull something out of here. EVOS Predator has just been absolutely doing well on both maps. So, it's crazy to see, them be able to do that soon. But we'll take a look exactly SaWeiQi's journey so far. 2 firsts, Elfish. I'm not laughing. I'm laughing because I'm just absolutely blown away by how quickly they've sort of turned things around from previous weeks. They were quite a consistent team, but something has happened in their play style to be able to push them just to 2 firsts and a 2nd place.
Yeah, look, it's not just a 2 firsts, it's a 2nd place as well on top of that, and 2 firsts with 12 kills and a 2nd with 9 kills. So it's placement 11 kills. Okay, 11 kills, 8 kills. Rather, I'm reading the placements and the kills the wrong way around. It's been a long day. Either way, what I'm trying to say is that these are not like pushover games in a sense that, you can get a first, you can get like 2 or 3 kills and you go, all right, we won, but like it wasn't that exciting. But these have actually been like genuine bona fide wins from SaWeiQi. Even the 2nd, like they were working hard, getting a lot of fights in their favor in that one as well. So they're not getting freebies. They're not doing it easily. They're getting good points on the board on top of the wins.
Yeah, and Donut has been doing the work for their team. Donut, I guess, across the series has been quite the entry fragger for the team. So it's been awesome to see Donut still solidified like top damage. 5,356 damage so far for the team alone. So just absolutely being able to open and pave the way for the rest of the team to sort of do their thing. But we're going to take ourselves a short little break, but don't go anywhere because we still have 3 more matches to go and they're going to be on World's Edge. I can't wait to see how they fold out. We'll be back soon.
always.
Welcome back, everyone. That was the final game on Storm for Groups B versus C. We're counting down the games as this is our last few matches for the triple round robin format. Teams are fighting for positioning for our regional finals in 2 weeks' time. So a little bit sad for some, magnificent triumph for most, but we just seen SWQ take out another win, Elfish. That is putting them in the lead with 63 points.
Yeah, it's been pretty dominant from them, so I have to imagine that they're going to try and keep that ball rolling going into World's Edge. Let's have a look at where they're going to end up. Monument, it looks like, for SWQ, so it's not, I mean, it's not the worst, actually. Fairly central as far as the drops are concerned. It's probably not the go-to. It won't be the one that you're going to pick every day of the week, but you'll take it. It's definitely middle of the road and happy enough for SWQ there.
Yeah, you know, they're finding themselves sort of fighting out of these sort of middle positions. So, you know, this could be something huge for them. We've seen quite a few zones actually pulled to Monument. So, you know, they can't really do, I guess, their edge rotate if that zone sort of pulls their way like they've been doing in the last couple of games. But, you know, we can see sort of VK Gaming, they're at Survey Camp. You know, they're sitting, third position at the moment. It's, you know, fighting their way, I guess, is going to be a little bit difficult from there. I guess DreamFire sitting in second at the moment. Elfish coming out of, you know, Epic Center. I think they chose at 37. So a little bit different for them, I guess. But yeah, if we have a look down the bottom, we saw Weibo, you know, get quite a nice spot there again at Lava. So, you know, this is going to be some epic games we're going to see here on World's Edge.
Yeah. Look, we'll have to sort of keep an eye on things, but look, a map can change a lot, is all I'm going to say.
Yeah, so let's have a look and see how these games unfold as we head over to World's Edge for game number 4.
Yes, indeed. Off we go. 3 games remaining for the regular split here in Split 2 of APAC-South for 2024. And already we have a contest. It is going to be Fussy taking down Tree Cleaner. It's 1-for-1. Grape Soda down to just their remaining 2. Fussy actually getting a bit of work done right now. He's got that R301 in hand and he's finishing things off quite nicely. Sentinel, maybe not the gun that you'd want in an early game engagement like this one, but gonna give it a crack anyway.
Well, I mean, I thought that once upon a time as well, Elfish, but it seems to be like the weapon of choice, just because you can put out so much damage, you can turn the tide in a single shot with that Sentinel, and we are genuinely seeing like so many people pick it up in these early game contests if you get a choice, which, you know, you rarely do.
Oh, yeah. Fussy, though, seems to be the one doing the majority of the damage, but eventually, indeed, the Sentinel will chime in to finish off. Keep going gaming. So
let's just put this in context.
All right.
Grape Soda have Siphon to themselves, and they have decided, like obviously the South Siphon spawn, not the North Siphon spawn, and they have decided to go down, take a couple of random weapons, and fight the tree team off drop. I love it.
I mean, they won. They did it. They did a pretty good job of it, so why not?
They are pushing the new POI draft system to its limit, and they have just won 3 KP from it, and even more loot potentially than they would have had. So, yeah, that is a pretty sick play.
Wonder if they're going to do it again. Is that the kind of thing you can get away with multiple games in a row? Probably not.
Yeah, I don't. That's a tough one. That is a tough one, isn't it? I mean, they obviously they're a very good contesting team. We saw them, you know, win a couple over at Lava Siphon previously, but we haven't seen them, you know, as the Marauders taking on other people's POIs. But apparently, their early game rage knows no bounds.
Yeah, why not? Have a crack. See how they go. Obviously, they're on the move pretty early on in the piece as well, and so into Lava Siphon to go and grab a bit more loot. But Akuma, yeah, is it always Akuma and VP running into one another? These two teams, their fates seem to be intertwined in that maybe both are going to miss out on making it into the regional finals, especially if they keep running into one another the way that they have been. VP, they're still skirting around. I mean, they're not exactly trying to disengage from this fight at all. And Akuma may be on the receiving end of some early damage. Snoop down low, but the thing is, Pricey's already dropped, so it actually goes from bad to worse for VP. There's a big trade back straight in onto Crusader. Way now down as well. 2 up for Akuma. And that is it. That is Virtus.pro out again in, well, this time 19th place. Might as well be 20th at the end of the day. And for Akuma, they follow suit quite quickly as well. Grape Soda say thanks very much for those extra points and all of that loot. I'm sure if we could go back 5 minutes, both VP and Akuma would rather have that time again.
And you know what's sad about that is, as we were just coming onto VP, I had an idea, and like I was ready to reach new levels of copium, or hopium, should I say, about Virtus.pro, because I remembered we didn't factor in bonus points.
Okay.
And if VP weren't out in this game right now, they potentially could have won 3 games.
Sure.
The next 3 games.
Sure.
1 bonus point. They could have potentially got 50 points ahead of the rest of the lobby. Extremely unlikely,
No,
but still
that's
mathematically
impossible.
possible.
How is that possible, bro?
Oh, it's like...
You are on cope.
Like
dude, hang
30,
on. No,
30 kills
no, stop. I'm just gonna... They're on 12 points coming into this game. SWQ's on 63. So you want them to get to 113 points from 12. They need 100 points out of 3 games. And SWQ's not allowed to get a single point. That would mean... How many... They need 33 points a game. Plus minus. So they would need a 20 kill win 3 games in a row.
Look,
how about...
let's not get too bogged down in the numbers, alright?
Lace has just dropped a banger.
It's mostly about belief.
She said he has had too much cough syrup, and I think you might have definitely at this point in time. I think you need to get onto the harder stuff so we don't have to listen to what you're saying anymore, because you're capping.
Well, they're out now, so yeah, it is actually genuinely no longer possible. But look, the bonus points rarely seen. In fact, I don't think we've actually... I keep forgetting whether we have or not, but I still don't think we've actually had a single one in APAC-South this entire year. So they're extremely, extraordinarily rare.
I mean, at the moment, SWQ's kind of heading in that direction. They're 33 points ahead at the halfway mark, and so...
That's nuts, yeah.
If they keep up that trajectory... What is it, 50 points, right? 50 points the gap? They would beat that. So...
Plus, they've got the 2 wins, so they only need 1 more win. And, you know, often teams will get the second win on, like, say, game 5, and then they have to cap it out, but these guys...
So is it just 3 wins, not 3 in a row?
Yeah. That's true. And then every win after the 3rd win is an extra bonus point.
Sheesh, okay. Maybe they should just win 3 in a row and then they'd get them all.
True.
Wishful thinking, perhaps. Perhaps maybe less wishful thinking, though, than VP being able to come back and get the bonus points. But anyway. Grape Soda out in the zone at the moment. They're kind of being gatekept a little bit by Heroez, who have set up inside of that caravan. To be honest, it's not really a great job, though, being done by Heroez, who are down 2. It's just Kissan's left. Grape Soda are going to work their way in and pick up those 2 kill points, and honestly, they'll just let Kissan's go. That's fine. Take the position, take the kill points. Happy days.
Right down on launch side here, MXF versus Final Dream.
Yeah, it's going okay for Final Dream at the moment. Papa's going to need to heal himself up, but the rest of Final Dream trying to push their way forward. Aimbot might have bitten off more than he can chew down low. The rest of the lads are going to filter their way on in, and the fight inside of the smoke, well, not going to go too well for Asaran. What's the rest of MXF? They just dipped. Well, they're back in, but it's a little bit too little too late, and so Final Dream grabbed themselves another couple of kill points as well.
Ooh, looks like it's going to be a fun little stacks ending here, actually, for us. Does it go up the hill? Does that mean we see a team like Grape Soda, who's not only managed to, you know, stack up, loot up, make their way up the leaderboard with those KP. They're going to be playing from Dome coming down the hill. I like that spot, but it does kind of depend which side we end on. It's not going to end on any of these multi-level buildings, so maybe it goes out east, out towards where DreamFire are playing, right on the edge of World's Edge.
Yeah, I mean, that's the zone that we do see reasonably often. I think in that case, often the first or second zone will have pulled even further out to the east than what this one has. So maybe wishful thinking still for DreamFire. But Big Mord might not be the worst of places to set up. That'll be where NoCredit opting to land. They've got EVOS Predator right behind them. I don't know that they even really saw them as they were flying on in, and so that'll be a free knock onto very cheeky indeed for EVOS Predator, who will jump upon that one quite gleefully and be happy to grab all of the confetti that pops out of that dead box. Meanwhile, X and Y do get eliminated off screen, and it looks like that might actually be the case for NoCredit in just a moment as well. Savior, he's trying to hide. He's underneath Big Mord. Hasn't yet been located, but they're on the hunt. At least Jack Cute is having a look. Has found him. No, he hasn't found him.
Scanned. They just scanned him, yeah. He wasn't even popping his meds.
No.
Hoping he might get out unscathed. But yeah, as soon as the Eye of the All-Father is activated, there is not a single hope of him living that one.
Yeah, difficult game to make those kinds of plays in. Too much information gathering tools. Too many. Guild flying their way on in. I thought they might land on DreamFire for a second there, but they've actually opted to go into one of the last remaining unclaimed buildings. You have Remarkable down on the southwestern corner. Not really being contested for their building at the moment.
Ooh.
But teams pushing out of Dome might be able to look in that direction, though they might not have to. That zone pool is going to keep some of that hill up near Dome in play. Remarkable team are very well centered to potentially walk away with a dub.
Yeah, the last minute plays from those buildings can be super tough though, so maybe it guarantees you like a top 8 or something like that, but I don't know how many points it's really worth. Whereas a team like a spot like VKG is playing from the tunnel side, I think that is a bona fide spot to be coming out in the end games. And if VKG can get that kind of info, they've got the Watson to set up nice and early. So
yeah, look, VKG, I mean, they've seen SWQ go and grab 2 wins today, and they're thinking maybe we can grab 2 wins today as well. Keep it a 2-horse race rather than just a 1-horse race, which it really is at the moment. I'm saying that, they're going to actually probably have to deal with SWQ, who are still in Lava Siphon. They're gone to scan the ring. So they'll potentially come in through the setup that VKG have got.
Alright, Knuckle Clusters come in here. Wonder if they've gone ahead and picked that Knuckle Hustler perk along with it. I think at the start we saw more players picking that, and then as the split has worn on, it has dropped off a bit. And at the moment, the stats are currently 70% of Fuse players are taking Reckless. To avoid some of that damage from your bang ults, any of the sky nades getting thrown at you that you can't avoid. And then 30% of people have been taking the Knuckle Hustler perk, which allows you that extra movement speed when you do hit with the tactical.
I'm very interested to see how SWQ are going to approach this. VKG should be pretty well aware of that they're coming in from behind, especially now that those electric fences are being tagged down. This is going to be a pretty hefty fight for SWQ. There is a possibility if they wanted to that they could exit this and go north and wrap around. They'd have to make that call really sooner rather than later. They've still got 50 seconds to work with here.
Yeah, 50 seconds, but no evacs. It's going to be an on-foot zone wrap from SWQ. It's zone 4. They would barely even make it around to Final Dream. You know, at that point, it's extremely hard. I think realistically, they do actually have to go through VKG. It's just going to be so hard at you know, the blue versus purple disadvantage and walking into a fully set up Watson team.
Yeah, smoke's going to go down. This is where Yuling has to come into play. Piece of the Hunt is out, and the damage isn't really quite enough. It's certainly been better from VKG onto SWQ, and they're going to try to force the issue. They are taking that advantage and running with it. QQ, what a spray out of that car. G7 Scout comes out as well, and this was surely not anything to write home about for SWQ, but Crazy Kong is still fighting, still standing, still alive, somehow surviving, but eventually eliminated. It wasn't even necessarily by VKG, it was through that third party. Final Dream coming in, and both teams in the tunnel go down, and with that, the chances of everybody now catching up to VK Gaming and, of course, SWQ raise dramatically.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to run the tape back on that one and see what the anchor player was doing for VKG there. Were they watching the back, or did they come to commit to the fight with the rest of their teammates? Because, you know, an initial crack on Final Dream trying to push in could have been the difference between them backing off and sticking out in, you know, in Skyhook, somewhere around that area, and then buying them time to take down SWQ rather than becoming collateral damage in that fight.
Oh, zone pull is actually going to go out in the direction of Grape Soda, who was the team that was kind of coming in from the dome. They've kind of needed a bit of assistance, you know. It's been a tough day, tough going for Grape Soda. So nice to see a ring pull go in their direction, see if they can actually capitalize on it though. These are going to be difficult rings to play, right? Because there's not a whole lot of cover at all. Just a few little sort of defilades, maybe some rocks, some shipping containers here and there and stuff like that. But I kind of got a feel for those teams in stacks. Like, anyone having to come out of here, not going to be fun.
I mean, I said the dome spot was probably going to be pretty good, and with the south pool, it absolutely is. It means the Grape Soda have basically the whole hill to themselves now. And they are looking down at some other teams like Final Dream, but oh, this is where all the teams who play within stacks are like, oh, this was such a good idea, and then it gets to zone 5 and you're like, wait, was it?
Weibo.
The late evac play might be a smart one.
Honestly, this is where Weibo tends to do their best work though. They have like a really quiet early game. Then they look like they're on the chaotic side of the zone later in the game, and they farm through a bunch of teams. Instead, though, as you mentioned, they decide to go for a late evac play right over to the other side of the map, and they are going to end up right behind Grape Soda, who are already wounded. Fussy down on the ground, and the Dreamers turn to the Nightmare. Weibo, they're pushing their way forward and saying, these are some very desperately needed points for us. And just sort of move into that position that was exited, essentially.
And just like the Valk Ultimate, that essentially was that kind of play where it's a play for God Spot late in the game. That's what the evac tower does enable in this sort of situation, but they do have to win the fight first. So it's Weibo versus Final Dream to the top of the hill.
It's an awkward fight around that smoke. Jackie Chan gonna have to try and do it solo now, but might have the chance to get it done. Havoc out, making short work of Final Dream. And the revives are going to be possible. All that fighting is happening in stacks. No one is even interested in Weibo. They made such a nice rotation. They've afforded themselves that time to get back to a full-strength roster. This is Weibo's game now to lose, as Guild try to kind of gatekeep DreamFire and True from making it out of the building.
Absolutely nuts. Look at the gold knock revives as well. Not even a respawn beacon required. It means they're even quicker at resetting, finding positions on the rock, spreading out, and now starting to pepper damage onto the other 3 remaining teams. Weibo have made it to this position with 8 kills, and as you said, their game to lose. Guild have a little bit of a better spot. they can hide from some of this damage that Weibo are trying to put down, this hurt that they're laying down on the rest of the lobby right now. Whereas True and DreamFire don't have a lot of space to work with.
Maybe this Kraber of Rogers could come up with a big play, but he'll just turn his attention with that Havoc instead. It's not quite going to be enough to get past I Hate the World. DreamFire continue to put in good work today, but of course answering back onto that is going to be Guild, who want to come in for that third party and sweep DreamFire away. Done a pretty clean job of it. It's into the 3v3 against Weibo, but look, Weibo have every advantage here now as that team that comes in last, and the team that enters last, laughs last, and that of course will be Weibo with a very clean job.
Beautiful stuff. I mean, I saw Boring hit a 204 spray with the Havoc there at the end. Wonton, oh, that's it. They've still got the WTD in their name, but Weibo Gaming, once known as Wonton Dumpling, make an evac play, and it wins them the game.
What a really smart rotate out of the chaos in the buildings there. You know, we sort of touch on that. It's so difficult to sort of, I guess, gauge that zone pool, but, you know, everyone's got to sort of set up in there. But, you know, I want to talk a little bit, I guess, about, you know, Grape Soda. You know, you were optimistic about VP there, Gino, but I'm always optimistic about Grape Soda because they, you know, they're really smart on World's Edge. They took little weapons and, you know, got KPG removed at Tree. You know, it was just, you know, a little bit of a tough fight for them, but managing to get that reset. And then they sort of, you know, made their way into the position on that hill. Like you made a good call there, you know, outside of Dome, a really smart position for them to be able to play out of, you know, being able to get a couple of kills for them along the way. But you know what? It was absolutely crazy here, not only for VK Gaming and SWQ, but Final Dream. They not only stopped, you know, SWQ and VK Gaming from getting yet another win. You know, they absolutely obliterated them in these tunnels. They had such a smooth sort of transition, pushing Grape Soda out of their position on the hill.
Yeah, well, I mean, Final Dream are actually only just behind Grape Soda, as you pointed out. Because Grape Soda, in terms of being biased towards World's Edge, right?
Yeah.
Grape Soda, by far the most. They get 75% of their points from World's Edge. That is a stunning statistic, but it's about 2/3 for Final Dream. So both players, both teams really relying on World's Edge to convert and bring them home here, I guess, being the last 3 maps that we'll play. And wow, 11 kills for Weibo. That's considering, you know, other teams could have just turned their sights to that evac and shot them out of the sky. That's a pretty incredible
Yeah, you know, they were just sort of all sitting there, and looking at all the chaos that's sort of happening in those buildings. But I guess, yeah, that evac was just such a smooth play for them. And not only that, you know, getting the 11 kills underway is absolutely insane for them. Along with Guild Esports, you know, they had a tough, you know, position like the rest of them, trying to fight their way out of those buildings just to get themselves, you know, to that spot that pulled outside Dome. So huge from them. But yeah, I guess I want to go down to Grape Soda, still getting 7 kills, you know, 8th position. If they could held on for a little bit longer, that would have, you know, been so, you know, huge for them. But, you know, it's those sorts of games, you know, sometimes you call the position and then it's hard to sort of fend for that spot, but SWQ still out in front. You know, we did talk about no one's really going to catch them at this point because they're just having such amazing games, you know, going throughout, you know, these last 6 matches.
Look, DreamFire could definitely put up 20 points in 2 games, right? Like, that's doable, but I guess it absolutely is within SWQ's power to put that beyond doubt. They had such an incredible storm point, but now that we are moving over, I still think they've got, you know, World's Edge was actually their first round pick in the POI draft here, Lace. So not only that, they got Monument to themselves without a fragment pick. And, you know, that means we saw lots of monument zones, we saw skyhook zones, we saw overlook zones. They have priority to basically all of the major zone clusters on World's Edge right now. I am extremely optimistic about SWQ running away with this series.
Yeah, and, you know, I guess I want to touch on Final Dream as well. You know, they moved up about 2 positions there, sitting them at 33 points currently. You know, I think that's pushed VK Gaming sort of a little bit out of the way. But yeah, Weibo's, I guess, stellar win moved them up 12 positions just from that game alone. So, you know, this is something we see from these juggernaut teams. They just have one amazing game and just skyrocket to the top, and then nothing can kind of stop them from there. So, you know, we still have a couple more games for them to move further up. You know, they're only at 30 points. They could definitely do so and get into those top 3 spots. Whether they catch SWQ, I don't know. But, you know, we're going to find out shortly. So we'll take ourselves another short little break and we'll see you after.
is going to be your champions of the Apex Legends Global Series.
And welcome back, everyone. We just witnessed a huge win from Weibo on Storm Point, you know, with a little bit of a risky evac to zone, but incredible nonetheless. They get themselves 11 kills, moving them up 12 spots. Absolutely insane from them, you know, finally a win under their belt for today's matches. But can anyone catch SWQ at this point? You know, they're 65 points in the lead with 2 wins. So it's just crazy at this present time, Gino.
Yeah, look, I miss that adrenaline rush of the Valk meta where you're just like, everyone goes for it. And you're like, oh God, are they going to make it or not? And you know, it's been too long, Lace. So thank you, Weibo, for bringing a little bit of that back into our lives.
Yeah, well, I can't keep out DreamFire. You know, they're sitting in second place at 42 points. You know, you've heard this name before. You've helped them bring the heat last week. So DreamFire, you know, this team just embodies a blend of like tactical prowess and strategic finesse. And, you know, their individual skill sets them apart in this competitive scene. You know, they're seasoned players with diverse strengths. They've got an established reputation for adaptability and some clutch performances under pressure, and it's been super exciting to see them, make a comeback during this split. It's been very tough for them. They were constantly sort of sitting under the top 10. Last week's performance, however, was long awaited. They placed first for groups B versus C, securing a third, and for groups A versus B, it was such a turnaround for them, putting them into 8th position in the series leaderboard. They're just reading these zones incredibly well. It just feels like they're so calculated in getting these zones and being able to, at least place top 3. So it's just going to be super exciting to see how they go moving forward in these next couple of games, because it's just been exciting to see DreamFire really be a big name like we know they can be.
Yeah, they've of course they've been there in the past, and they're threatening to do it again. If we have a look at our damage stats right now, you can see that No Name is in fact on top of the lobby, and by a good margin too here. 7k already. That's pretty nuts, Lays.
Yeah, usually we see this sort of stuff from the Legends Gaming crew, this this kind of crazy damage, but it's awesome to see No Name sort of be able to do this damage for their team, with the zone calls from, 3MZ. It's just exciting to see them be able to bring such cohesion again for this team. But we're going to head over back for match number 5 on World's Edge. Can DreamFire push their way to the top? I'm very excited to see. Let's take it away.
Well, the big thing is that SWQ didn't really manage to improve upon their scoreline, so the chances of any bonus points coming through now would have to come from a third win, really, more so than a 50-point gap. I don't think that one is really going to be very possible at all for SWQ anymore. DreamFire making quite the run in to try to catch up to them. Still 23 points behind with 2 games to go, but that's achievable.
It's possible. You know what else is possible? It's a team playing Newcastle Caustic Pathfinder.
Oh.
So last game we didn't really get to highlight it that much, but they were playing Bang Loba Rampart, which is like, I would say sort of like semi an actual team composition.
Okay. I see your Caustic Newcastle Pathfinder, and I raise you Fuse Horizon Pathfinder. How about that?
Yeah.
Or Bangalore Bloodhound Mad Maggie.
Wait, who's playing? Oh my god, yeah. Wait, Virtus.pro are going for it too. Yeah, damn.
Yeah. It's getting a bit silly.
It's that time of the year.
Yes, indeed.
The most wonderful time of the year.
To be like that sometimes, and you get a bit of a visual representation of what we're talking about up the top of your screen there. Some interesting compositions being chosen in the penultimate game of the regular season. X and Y being one of those. JR on the Maggie. Yet to really come into play. They have found themselves in an engagement, so we might get to see something fun.
Oh, look, I mean, if you've been there watching some Cybercats VODs, then I'm sure you'll know how to make her work at the very highest level. It's not like she's, not a viable character, it's just not one that we see a lot.
Yep. Well, Heroez suffering at the hands of X and Y. Bastion's gone on a bit of a run, bit of a journey. Try and get away. Is this Akuma playing against VP? Is Akuma fighting VP again? Let me see. No, it's LGD. Not going to be getting that res though. Nice shot from the Peacekeeper straight on through. It's not going to save LGD though. And Akuma finding that res shouldn't be too big of a problem for them. No third parties coming in this direction.
Yeah, let's get Walsh. Nice little clutch up there. LGD, not a team that we've talked about a lot so far. SWQ, wow, yeah, with all those kills they racked up at the start, you can see Yuling leading the pack here. And No Name, despite having like the most stupid, ridiculous amount of damage, only has 9 kills to his name. Surprising.
Can't get it going every day. Rampage from this range. It feels ambitious. SWQ waiting patiently for anyone to rotate into landside, and if they would have waited another couple of seconds longer, they might have waited long enough for DreamFire, but X and Y, speaking of patience, that's going to be rewarded as Bastion came across to try to pick up the banners, and that was just never happening. X and Y were camping them, waiting for that very moment. So a little bit more loot into the back pocket of X and Y, but it's more so about the points at this point for X and Y, who really are desperate for some, sitting only on about 14.
Yeah, wow, that's not a great way to finish off the season when they're not out of the woods just yet, I believe, in terms of their series standings.
Well, VP... I don't know. What do you even say at this point? You know, like, I want to be able to sell the storyline. I want to be able to say it's still possible, but really it's just not. They're kind of playing for pride at this moment. And KPG is perhaps even going to take that away from them because Wei has been finished off and Pricey and Sharky are scrambling, separating, trying to escape. Trying to get anything happening here for VP. Doesn't seem like it's going to be the case this season at all. And honestly, maybe they'd be happier to just get this season over and done with. It's been a rough one.
Yep. Here we go next. SWQ, however, they've got plenty to fight for here. Plenty to defend, really, when you think about it, because they are on top by quite a margin. As you can see on top of your screen right now, 24 points is a healthy buffer over our second place team of DreamFire. $15 squads left, so we've already lost quite a few.
Yep. I mean, this is kind of honestly how it tends to go.
Yeah.
The end of the split, you get teams that kind of know they're not going to make it, or that it doesn't really matter what kind of happens for these last couple of games. They've either made it or they're not going to make it. And then some interesting comps come out. People play a little bit looser, try to get away with a little bit more, and end up inevitably getting punished. Because everyone in this lobby is still a very good player. You can't get away with too much. Just like so. Sharky trying to go back for, I assume, for a banner. And he is going to be... Ooh, oh, that's grim. Oh, that's painful. That's the end of Sharky, at least.
Yeah, but at the same time, you see up the top of your screen pop up the respawn coming in.
Oh, he's back! He's back! Let's go! Mission successful.
Well, he got
now
Wei's
to go
back
for another
up,
recovery
right?
mission.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Like, he traded his own life for Wei there, essentially.
A noble sacrifice. Not sure they're going to get Sharky back, though. KPG, happy with the extra point. And they're going to keep things pretty nice and chill down toward Tree for the moment.
Meanwhile, Zone pulling actually towards Mirage Trois. And that means final dream of the team who sits atop the hill. Has everything going for them. Be throwing knuckle clusters non-stop, I would imagine. That's either, you know, SWQ, who's, of course, reliably found themselves in one of the best spots in the game, sitting down underneath Mirage Trois in the buildings down there. And it's Guild, who are currently partying on the ship.
Target over there.
True. Making a fairly safe rotate in. And did I just see VP get another res? Did I really just see that? I did. You know what's just happened? Pricey's gone down to get Sharky's banner. He's now died as well. But Sharky's back. So we're playing musical chairs, actually, really, when it comes to VP at this point.
Just trying to make sure every duo has a chance this game.
Everyone gets to have a turn, you know? It's like, you ever go to a friend's house and it's like you're playing PlayStation 2, there's only 2 controllers, but there's 3 of you, and it's like next time you die, you swap you swap controller, and so next everyone gets to have a turn, you know?
You know, there's probably people listening who've never seen a PlayStation 2.
Oh, that's true. Honestly, I was just thinking that. I was like, damn, am I really just showing my age at this point?
these boomer references, my god.
Yeah. It's a PlayStation 2. I mean, what's going over to your friend's house to play video games when you can play online nowadays?
That's
I mean, how often do people even do that anymore?
Don't ask me.
You want to come over to my place and play some video games? I actually sold my PlayStation 2 recently.
Oh, really? How much did you get for it?
Not that much, like $50. Oh, I mean, to be fair, I think it was probably worth more than that, but I wasn't like.
It is.
It's
It's still like the highest selling console of all time. I think.
To go. Yeah. I reckon you could probably play Apex Legends on PlayStation 2.
Probably. Yeah.
Well, ASMI seem to finding themselves in the mix a little bit. Having a few fights this game.
Oh my god.
Might get the better of them in a moment. ALGS just been absolutely decked. And there's a lot of nades headed in the direction of the remaining members.
Look at that. Nades, drills.
What am I supposed to look at, Gino? What am I seeing?
Yeah.
Smoke. That's what I'm seeing.
I mean, might be different by the time we get to regional finals.
Don't tempt me with a good time.
Can't see nothing meta. Might have heard it called slightly differently. Will potentially be gone by the time we get to our regional finals. But yeah, I'm not going to hold my breath. There's always potential for other heroes to come in and disrupt that, just like we see Barbecue disrupting MXF's plans here in our penultimate game.
Just bring back the Gibby out Caustic meta. That was the GOAT meta. Actually, Ash meta was pretty fun too. I like Ash meta.
Ash meta?
Yeah, remember Ash used to get played a bit on Storm Point. I think in place of the Valk sometimes.
I think that was like that was about a week and a half.
Yeah, I was going to say it was only a couple of weeks.
It was like
teams were kind of experimenting with it.
The theory crafters kind of came out with it like at the start of Storm Point, but it never really took off. Teams were just like,
I like
oh
Ash.
no, she's actually not that great.
Ash is really fun. I love that ult, but yeah. Give me Valk Caustic, I'll take that. Makes sense.
X and Y are looking to take their chances here against Barbecue.
Those chances that are definitely going their way for the moment. Barbecue do get eliminated, but there was some third-party shots coming on through. They're going to try and get the revive, but there is just no hope at all because NoCredit, as a duo, have rolled up and finished things off. That's the end of X and Y. Credit, though, to NoCredit, actually, funnily enough. They really sort of seized that opportunity. And when you're a duo, it's sort of easier said than done to make a call like that.
Well, I do grab a couple KP and NoCredit. They're currently sitting in 9th spot overall for this series, so it's been reasonable for them. I mean, they're thinking about making their way into that final lobby, and they've got a chance actually. Elfish, like they are a bit off the pace, but they would need a very good series to make it to our regional finals, but it's not, it's not completely out of the question.
Weibo sitting in 6th. Just kind of waiting for a quintessential Weibo game. It hasn't really popped up today so far, but you know that it's always waiting in the wings somewhere. DreamFire also kind of lurking around. Those are the two teams of the week last week, I'd say. Weibo and DreamFire. Kind of going hand in hand with their performances, and hasn't been too bad from either of them this week either. It's been a real resurgence from both. Obviously, it hasn't been quite as flamboyant today as what it was a week ago, but it's kind of hard to replicate that.
Definitely teams with pop-off potential. That's why we highlighted them this week. And Weibo's position here is it's a little bit tenuous. They're going to have to push down in towards Graveyard, where VKG are currently holding it down. And it's either usurp them, or they have to go into DreamFire, who are holding on the tracks. So it's starting to pull away from Mirage Etoile, and Final Dream, who we said had that awesome spot on the top here, hold it down. They maintain it. They take out KPG, and that'll actually be a really good next phase of the game for them, because all they have to do is shift slightly across and they are able to stick on that high ground near where the caravan is. True is set up in the buildings below them in that little village. And then VP. Which duo is it? You never know. Sharky and Way this time. Pricey IGLing from the shadows.
Yeah, they're just hiding underneath Akuma. I don't know how aware Akuma is of their position under the bridge at the moment, but VP plugging away, trying to survive, really. It's kind of the name of the game at this point in time, and Final Dream are taking those shots at Akuma at the moment. Walsh and Snoop at the top of the rock there, copying the brunt of the shots. It's not really enough to cause too many problems for Akuma, so they're happy to hold on to this position, which will be quite a good one. They've got a lot of high ground, they've got a lot of information gathering options as that zone pushes its way in. DK Gaming will definitely be in the thick of things, and Weibo Gaming is headed in their direction. Luckily there's an alternator pylon that is soaking up a few pieces of that util.
Yeah, you can see the Falling Stars upgrade for Watson coming in very handy there. Converting those Bangalore ultimate rockets into some arc stars for the team.
Alternator pylon though disappearing, and so Weibo's going to be able to push their way in a little easier now. In the end, VK Gaming do get eliminated pretty quick smart, but Weibo have other issues to keep an eye on. Way is going to fly on in there. VP, they tried something. They tried to do something, but didn't really work out. Way and Shaq, I'm not sure if they'd do that again. Ended up sort of trading spots actually with DreamFire. DreamFire's ended up where VP kind of left off. So that's an interesting little turn of events, but sort of touched on it in the previous matchup for Weibo when they kind of get into these sorts of positions. I feel like that's where they really do their best work. They're a team that kind of thrives in the chaos. And I tell you what, this is definitely chaos.
Well, we said they had to go through that graveyard, but luckily it's not their inscription on the tombstone. They will put VKG to rest. SWQ have started moving out on the buildings, no longer in, so they hide under the cover of Mirage Etoile above them, but eventually they will either have to go up the ramp and move their way in past where you can see the remaining member of Fruit Salad is Scholar down there, or do they try and contest in the village, take on teams like True, who are currently chucking down some senti shots here, seeing if they could maybe knock one of Weibo Gaming before they grab that balloon.
DreamFire keeping themselves under the radar for the moment, but dead center in the next zone. Have to take the fight now. Trying to have a little bit of a look up behind them to see if maybe they can deal with Akuma or whatever's happening up there. Final Dream also kind of taking that fight. It's 1v1 now. Snoop, Papa surviving on top of the hill, but there's just madness happening all over the place. Weibo's just been eliminated, by the way, so they're out in 6th, and skirmishes happening on either side of the map. Pete pushing his way forward. It's SWQ, and DreamFire are making a run in for first place in the lobby. If they were to win this game, they might actually be able to leapfrog SWQ. Kind of depends on how many kills they get, and there's not maybe too many left on offer. 3 squads remaining, 9 players up, everyone a trio. That's gone very quickly by the wayside as 2 players quickly dropping for Final Dream. It's just aimbot left for Final Dream. Full strength True and the full strength DreamFire, who are down on the low ground, so have less options, but honestly, Zone kind of pulling in the direction of DreamFire anyway, so...
Yeah, those are up on high. Just putting in lots of work to make sure all those other teams like Weibo Gaming got 2 damaged on their rotates in, and essentially no one makes it from the low ground to the high ground, so congrats to True for holding out on that, but that doesn't necessarily mean they can take down DreamFire. There's still a team to contend with. At some point, they may have to drop off here. Let's see who gets pushed out first. True. Start trying to take angles.
DreamFire can drop even further down the ridge, which is lucky because that's the only way that 3MC is going to be able to survive. He's got the med kit trying to get that one off, but is spotted and picked up by Vixeria. The positioning is just too strong for True. They have all the cards in their sleeve at the moment, and they get to choose how this game plays out. DreamFire trying to get live potentially, but it's not really an angle right here. And honestly, the longer this goes, the easier this gets for True as they continue to corral DreamFire into some
he
shots.
finds the angle with the devotion here, and just gets them absolutely locked in behind that bin. True, congratulations, winning our game 5.
Yeah, look, it was a matter of time, right? Once True sitting on top of that cliff, DreamFire, they can't move. They're hiding behind the knockdown shield, and sooner or later, that knockdown shield's going to break. Someone's going to find an angle. It's made worse, obviously, by the fact that this guy with the devotion, but regardless of what gun that ends up being, that's a pretty dead DreamFire. The positioning was just too strong for True, and they get every option, right? When you have all of those options, it's just so much easier. You get to be proactive, you get to choose when the fight happens, and DreamFire, they are forced to kind of take the fight on someone else's terms, and that's never fun.
Yeah, that's so true. They sort of sat in that middle ledge for a little bit, but, decided, I guess, to drop down to, get themselves some kills, but, popped the evac, but found it difficult to sort of get back to their position, which I guess allowed True just to kind of sit, idly by above them. Was it the play? I do know DreamFire sort of want to get some more kills to try and overtake SaWeiQi at this point. But, I guess it could have cost them the win from that position there. But yeah, True moved up about 4 spots. This is a team we haven't really spoken about too much, Elfish. They sort of came through CC and then, joined the likes of the Pro League. So it is, a tough sort of spot for them to be in amongst all these crazy teams. But that was I believe, one of their first wins in this whole split.
Well, you take it. It may be a little bit better late than never kind of a situation, and I don't think you'd probably be wrong there, if I'm being honest, Lace. I don't know that I've seen them win any in the days that I've been covering, and I know that they were obviously one of the teams that sort of struggled a little bit more so, just generally speaking, obviously being one of the newer additions to this split of ALGS. So it's good, right? Like, it's a good confidence builder, and obviously a tough season, yes, but if you finish strong, which they obviously have, second last game, you get yourself a dub. It's something to take away from the split and say, well, we achieved something, and if we can come back next split, we continue to build on that foundation, and that's kind of what this is all about, right? Where we don't just want to see the same teams, same players performing day in, day out. You do kind of want to see some fresh blood coming through and causing a bit of a ruckus, because that will be the next generation of players here in ALGS.
Yeah, that's it. We always sort of cycle through a couple of teams and they leave us for NA, but then we get some new contenders coming on through. And, it's amazing for True to get themselves their win with 5 kills under their belt. Again, with DreamFire in second position, still sort of keeping a great momentum, only having about 3 kills. That was sort of in that last final zone that they managed to collect those ones. But Final Dream holding strong in third position with 7 kills. That is great for them. It's still going to keep them in the top 3 going through to the next match. So we'll take a look at exactly where everybody is sitting. And has anyone taken over SaWeiQi? No, they haven't.
No, it was always going to be tough. DreamFire would have liked to have obviously gotten that win just to edge themselves a couple of points closer, but 21 points the gap between them and SaWeiQi. I don't imagine that's going to be run down in one game. So it'll really be a discussion around the fight for second between DreamFire and Final Dream. True have done a pretty good job to maybe get themselves into that conversation as well. Weibo's kind of hanging around. One big game as well, which we know they're capable of, could potentially drop them up into second place as well. And honestly, if I look at VK Gaming, I'm thinking, oh man, it's just another VK Gaming series, isn't it? Where they have one really banger game. They get that dub in game 2, and then haven't really got too many more points off of that, and they're on 33 total, so
yeah,
been a bit of a slower day for them.
Yeah, and if Final Dream, if I've done my maths correctly, if they can just keep this third place position, not even second, not even first, they should get enough points to put themselves in the top 20, because GK Esports, HKF, they're sort of out of the game at the moment, 47-45, and if they could just keep this third place, gets them, 18, puts them at 51, which puts them in the top 20 from 23rd place. So they need to go into this game and just keep I guess, the same sort of energy that they've had throughout the day.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's good to see. Obviously, you know, you're getting rewarded for your efforts. What I'm interested to kind of keep an eye on going into Game 6 here is, are we going to see any even more crazy team comps? Are those same team comps going to come through for VP, maybe for X and Y?
Fruit salad.
Or is there going to be somebody else that's going to throw something in the mix? Yeah, fruit salad, obviously worth a mention too. So we'll keep an eye on that going into Game 6.
Well, we'll let them sort of decide on their team compositions as we take ourselves a short little break, but do not go anywhere. We're going to head into match number 6. You need to see this. You don't want to miss out. We'll see you shortly. Welcome back, everyone. Game number 5 for Groups B versus C. It's crunch time for many for our teams, as we only have one more game to go. And a win from an unsuspecting team, which moved them up to 4th place for today. And that is an Aussie team by the name of True. It has been awesome to see them finally get their first win throughout the split. A team that we haven't really sort of spoken about, made their way through CC and now have gotten a win in Pro League. So it is awesome to see these teams go toe-to-toe with some big teams. We, of course, still have SaWeiQi in a ginormous lead at 75 points. DreamFire trying to obviously close that gap. Elfish, they're going to have quite a big game. We need SaWeiQi to sort of be knocked out a little bit earlier for them to be able to get there. But I want Elfish to take us through some wonderful legends and how our teams are, playing whatever the heck they want to play.
I can't believe you've done me like this. Yeah, take a look at the team comps from this series so far on World's Edge. Now, obviously, there's quite a lot of teams playing fairly standard. It's either the Watson or the Fuse that's going to be getting chosen for the most part. I mean, Horizon in there as a little bit of a float. But, I mean, we had a Loba at some point. I didn't really notice that one. Maggie in there somewhere. Obviously, Newcastle, Corsic, and Pathfinder getting picked up in that last game. A couple of interesting out there compositions in that previous game, and I'll just have a little quick peek and see if we've got anything coming through for this next game. The teams are picking their comps right as we speak, and well, we'll have to wait another 10 or 15 seconds before we get there, but I do imagine that there's going to be another couple of teams that will throw something a little bit different into the mix. I can already see Fuse, Horizon, Lifeline? Surely not a Lifeline coming
Surely
through here
not
from
a
VP.
Vantage. Surely not a Vantage.
Okay.
Like, I'm not even Lifeline. That's not even surprising to me. You know, Lifeline has had some crazy changes. Rev, I'm not even surprised by Rev, but Vantage, never in my life have I seen that, Elfish.
Yeah, I'm kind of... I'm boggled. Mind boggled. Pathfinder Revenant Vantage is the comp that Fruit Salad are going to run. So that's where that's all coming from, just for those that are wondering. It's going to be an interesting game. What more can I say?
Look, we saw an Octane last week, and I got super excited. I want more Octanes, but that's fine. Or even more Mad Maggies, so I can say that I played in the game. But you know what? We're going to obviously, see how these teams sort of go and play out. But guys, this is it. This is the final game for our triple round robin, match number 6. Let's take it away.
Final game of the regular split here, and it's groups B and C to take us through to the finish line, I suppose, is kind of where we're looking at, right? But for some teams, it'll be the finish line, and for some teams, it will be really one step on that pathway that they have for what could be a potentially pretty big couple of months, right? And if they can do well here in APAC South, go and play internationally, a couple of international tournaments coming up fairly soon. So there's every possibility that a few of these teams are going to be able to attend multiple, and that is always a fun place to be.
Yeah, looking a couple of fun compositions coming through, as well as you guys were highlighting. Fruit Salad have been the ones just trying to, give every legend their due. Switching it across with that Vantage pick out here. That must be, I don't know if it's the only time, but it's definitely one of the first times we've ever seen a Vantage picked in professional Apex Legends competition. Wild stuff, and I mean, it does seem like a little bit of self-interest that the voice actor from Mad Maggie is saying that we should have more Mad Maggie in the game, but that's just me.
No bias, of course. Well, I'm going to be keeping my eyes glued on Fruit Salad and see what they're going to be able to do. Already finding themselves in a fight. Ula down low needs to pop a bat.
Trying to get their EVOs done the old-fashioned way here.
A new level means it's upgrade time for the killing machine. That's me. Picked an upgrade, friends.
Pathfinder's back.
Perfect time for the
He's back and he's ready to yap.
Voice lines there, yeah. They're chasing after MXF at the moment, by the way, who are in a state of disrepair, I guess. That's one way to put it. And they're also getting looked at by several other teams in the area. Just like last time we had a similar circle to this, Elfish. Many teams will pull up very, very quickly to this area, to the train station, to Grandma's house, and try and find their spots.
Tell you what, if there's one team that I don't really want to be chased by, it probably is a team featuring Revenant and Pathfinder, because, what are you going to do, really, at that point? They're going to catch you. They're going to get you eventually, and they have. MXF have been chased to the ends of the earth, it really feels like, but Fruit Salad have found their mark. It's onto Scholar. Doesn't quite survive the cross, and might not survive, to get revived either.
This is the problem. This is the problem when you don't have Bangalore. All of a sudden, it becomes very hard to shield yourself from other teams. I mean, if you're the hunter, it's fine, but if you're the hunted, this team composition doesn't provide you with quite as much flexibility.
Yeah, got to be on the front foot rather than the back foot, that's for sure. They've already provided us a bit of fun, and I'm sure there's more where that came from for Fruit Salad. Seeming to be quite mobile at the moment. Moving over to NoCredit. No credit even. Jeez.
I think he's gone back about 15 years in terms of FPS games.
I swear there's a team called NoCredit in something. Was there a team called NoCredit in ALGS at one point?
I don't remember there being one in
APAC-South?
ALGS, no.
It could be another game. I mean, I do a lot of different games, so it could be another one, but... Anyway, NoCredit. Just took a couple of the leathers out, you can't blame me. Just like E-Data right here.
Yup.
That could be us.
So it's silly season here in Apex Legends, apparently for the casters, as well as the team compositions.
Sometimes you gotta have fun.
Yeah, LGD Gaming, I mean, that's a team that they started off our split very well. And then it has been, unfortunately, a little bit of a downfall after there. They should, you know, quite easily be making our regional finals, but unless they go big here in this final game, you know, I'm not sure if auto qual for LAN is on the table for these guys who have honestly been one of the most well-supported teams in ALGS. The amount of fans that turn up physically anywhere in the world, doesn't matter where you're holding these LANs, they will be there to support Feiju and his crew.
That will be the end of LGD for the night, as they were just finished off in 18th place. And Final Dream working their way toward the next zone, which is a bit of a northern shift. SaWeiQi have ended up in the house that very often gets fought over. I'm not really contesting them for it this time around, though. So I wonder if there's another dub in here for SaWeiQi. I mean, we obviously would be kind of excited to see that, right? 3 in one night. Bonus point. I think would that be the first time that we've seen a bonus point since that rule got added?
Yep,
so
correct.
It's on offer in the final night of this split. SaWeiQi going to pop Beast of the Hunt, do a bit of scouting as he flies through the air.
Yeah, it's always an interesting option. It's like a budget Valk ult. Or Valk passive, I guess, when you're going for these, just so you can see the other members. But obviously they're opting to take that fight immediately.
Yeah, it's usually pretty hard when you just landed to actually have a favorable fight, but that was nice! Indeed, I'm not sure it's going to be enough to keep going gaming back into the mix, but
it is. It
movement.
is. Yeah, let's
movement.
go. The super glide actually coming out very useful there, but we do see Virtus.pro pull up, and the reses haven't come out yet.
Yeah, exactly. That's the issue, isn't it? You know, you can do everything right as an individual, but teammates go down. There's, you know, only so much you can really achieve, and you have to sort of just back off there, because that third party is always going to be coming through, especially, you know, when the lobby is as full as it is still. VP, their story is probably done for today alongside KPG, but at least still getting some work in there.
KH saw it coming early enough to get out, so he does maintain position to Rat. Potentially going to wait for VP. He's probably going to hope that they just pull out like an evac, go over, and he can grab the banners. Bit of fighting on the edge of the ring on the other side. This is in Epicenter, X and Y, Weibo Gaming. I mean, Weibo's chances, you know, sitting in 12th spot, like, this is, that's still within that striking range.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely want to see them kind of come into the regional finals and kind of pop off, bring their best, bring their A game. Imagine we get an A game day from Legends, from Weibo, from VK Gaming. These kinds of teams that can really put together big games. DreamFire as well.
Yeah, and it's always fun to see how those kind of teams perform in the regional finals as well, right? Like, are they the team that shows up even better when all your chips are in?
Yeah, I mean, I would say actually at a general rule, I feel most teams that did really well in the regular split often kind of fall off a little bit in the regional final. Almost like infamously, like I find when I think back to like when Reignite was here, a lot of the times, if you remember, they really struggled in those regional finals. Yeah, I think the only exception really being Moist. I remember Moist kind of leveling up, actually.
Yeah, and that would go all the way up into LAN as well, right? Like, I mean, they would be an okay group stage team, and then they'd be phenomenal in Winners bracket, and maybe fall off just a touch in the finals, but usually still be doing pretty well. So it was, yeah, I mean, that was, I think, in previous metas, that was a bit reflective of whether you were a zone team or an edge team. But that paradigm has changed. Yep. So maybe that will be changing in a couple of weeks. Then again, we don't even know what the meta is going to be like for regional finals. That's the crazy part.
No more bang. No more bang. Maybe no more blood.
Oh, she's still in there. Yeah, no more blood. Yeah, that's maybe the more likely option, I think. But the question just becomes, which scan character will we replace them with?
Yeah. We'll get to that when we get to that. For now, just have to finish this game off. And X and Y have set themselves up towards survey camp. They're just keeping an eye on True, who's sitting across from them in the other building. The ring, as we can see, pulling over towards Skyhook.
Ooh,
it's going to end up being a Skyhook finish. It is.
Okay, now
maybe there's a last-ditch effort in there from VP.
That's very different. I mean, all the zones, I guess having a look at that sort of second zone, you may have predicted that. We weren't paying that much attention to it, I suppose, at the time, but compared to the other ones that stuck out like this, it's yeah, it's quite different. It won't be ending up on that more middle portion of World's Edge here. And that means these guys got to duke it out because they got to get a wriggle on.
Yeah, well, X and Y have decided that they want to take matters into their own hands. They could have just exited. They didn't even really need to be taking this fight, but they've decided to do that. And look who is coming in for a party. They've been invited. It is going to be Weibo to finish off True, and potentially X and Y as well. But they've also kind of got to be a little bit wary because they've got Barbecue coming in from the northern side as well. All of a sudden, survey camp just becomes madness, chaos, really, and Weibo might actually be on the receiving end of it. No, those shots were actually into X and Y, who were eliminated. Now Barbecue copping a huge chunk of damage as Jackie Chan try and combine with Bobo to grab that initial knock. Pete God has gone down. Chan might have to get it done himself. The heals are happening elsewhere, and that's it. Barbecue down and out. They should not have taken that challenge against Weibo Gaming, but they weren't to know. And that'll be some good, nice points on offer for Weibo, who go up to 47. And also clear out survey camp right on time. Zone pushing now.
Nice to have the gold knock there, just to give you that extra buffer of health as you're being chased in by the zone. But luckily no one holding out the tunnel. VKG have decided to go further into Skyhook, so that's very fortuitous there for Weibo Gaming.
VP looking nice and healthy. This would be bittersweet, you know, if VP would win this game. Like, it's almost better if you don't win this game as VP, because it just doesn't matter. But maybe they can have some fun on their way out. Won't be seeing them in the regional finals.
Kind of bring a different meaning to Pride Before the Fall.
Well, the Heroes are going to push their way into the tunnel, and look who's waiting for them. Maybe not a whole lot of resistance, honestly. This alternator doing some real work, and Akuma have been swept aside as well. I'd say that's probably the last we'll see of Akuma, as they perhaps have not gotten quite to the mark that they needed to today to make it to the regional finals.
Okay, so SWQ go in against DreamFire.
Well, they try to. They haven't actually committed to pushing through the door just yet. To be fair, it is a bit of a choke point. Up on the roof, the fight is happening. Crazy Kong's gone down. That wasn't what SWQ were expecting at all, and so now they've got the building control. They've got inside the building, but it is just Donut that is alive. He's trying to dump down grenades as much as possible to keep himself safe, but not going to be safe at the hands of DreamFire.
Oh my. Okay, DreamFire. They've still got they've got to very hard rotate into the next part of the circle. They're obviously got to go all the way around the outside. I doubt they really want to go through the tunnel. They could try and blue their way past Heroes, but that's a tough ask. Heroes actually, they scanned behind them because after that fight that they won in the tunnel, they were a little bit worried about a third party. That actually showed them that there was a solo KH from Keep Going Gaming behind them, so they just net themselves an extra KP off the back of that scan. But it also does mean that they are pretty solid about their positioning, whereas DreamFire now have to worry about Weibo Gaming ahead of them. They've got the first knock though onto Jackie Chan, but they don't even worry about it. They go straight into the building, but oh no, Pete doesn't quite make it.
Yeah, DreamFire, I was going to say they eliminated their next closest competitor in SaWeiQi, the team that they're trying to chase. So this is their chance to actually win the lobby. Though, if things continue to go poorly, if they don't get Pete back up, then maybe there's a different story to be had. Looks like that res will come through for DreamFire, though. And they have locked things down with the Watson fences, the alternator pylon. Push is maybe coming through in their direction, though. This is a tough building to push. Zone is going to be a big problem. They will hold for the moment, but they're going to have to move again. Not too far. And they need to get to 70, what is it, 75?
Yeah, it's pretty tough to do. I mean, especially when you've only got 9 squads left alive, right? The way these lobbies are playing out,
yeah.
There's just not a huge amount of KP available for teams who are putting themselves in good positions. You kind of have to be a little bit silly about it and just push a bunch of teams to grab that many KP. So we got the light show on over here. On the zipline as well as on the mobile respawn beacons.
Shots coming through from Fruit Salad, who continue to cause a bit of a ruckus with this wild team composition that they brought into the final game. Walking Ula. But it's just not quite happening eventually. I'd say at this point maybe the dream is dead for Fruit Salad. Can still see in that kill feed that DreamFire keep on keeping on. They're up to 62. Remember, 75... Well, 75 going into this game was the cutoff point. Don't know if SaWeiQi actually managed to get 1 or 2 more points out of it, but let's just say 75 for now is the goal. And that is achievable. That is achievable, especially with a win. Another lobby win for DreamFire. I think they were able to win one last week, if I've got my memory serving correctly.
Yeah. Them and BKG with the wins last week. Been struggling, searching for them earlier in the split. Still a ways to go, though.
Pete's in the walls a little bit, but gets another bat off. And DreamFire. I really appreciate the thing about this team is that they don't shy away from the fights. Is that the final member of Fruit Salad up there? Who even is that?
I think it might be
Weibo.
Weibo Gaming, yeah.
It's a cheeky position to find yourself into. Ula. Yeah, it wasn't Ula. He's just been bouncing around all over the place, I've seen, with the Revenant Qs.
Oh yeah, they're actually... That is a very cheeky spot by Weibo. There's like part of where they were sitting was actually out of bounds, and there's just like one little spot where they weren't.
That was clean, by the way, from our head to world.
I've never seen that spot before. But I guess we also not seen a lot of final, end zones here either. So lots of interesting stuff coming out here in this Southern Skyhawk zone.
Yeah, you can learn a lot from watching ALGS, all the little nooks and crannies that these guys have been able to exploit. We've got 4 teams remaining. Guild on 45 points. Heroez, Virtus.pro. Again, Virtus.pro still sticking around. Still got, I believe, 3 strong.
Yep, they've got 2. Yeah, and they're playing Fuse Horizon Lifeline.
The big problem is Genome's voice, first of all, but actually DreamFire. 68 points. 68 points. They need 7 more to get to 75 to equalize with SaWeiQi. I think maybe your voice is going to need a lifeline at this point, but we'll talk about that after. Pete again has been knocked, so maybe the dream is now dead for DreamFire. This seems like an unresable type scenario to me. It's just getting a little bit too messy. 3MZ's pushing his way forward, but also will be knocked down by the Rolling Thunder. So forget about that storyline. DreamFire now just fighting for survival, and I Hate the World will be taken down by Guild. And maybe the big talking point now is, can VP at least find themselves a win on the way out of ALGS Split 2? Because they are in the final 3-on-3 against Guild.
Guild, they
pushing their way forward.
Really just, chipped away at this series. 6 points a game, but now they want to finish it off with a dub. Can they do it against VP?
Their legacy low. It's down to Wei solo against Yesko, who is popping that bat. Has managed to get it off. Wei's also full HP at this point in time. Thinking about a res. Not going to be given it. And the drop down is in from Jesko. Wants to take the fight. The beam is in from Wei. And the finish is there for Virtus.pro. They'll end strong, but as mentioned, it will be a bittersweet ending for VP, because I'm sure that they have not quite done enough to make it into the regional final, but hey, a dub to end could be worse.
Yeah. I kind of wish, they did that at the start, but you know what? It's something under the belt for them. And, it must feel kind of good just to get themselves a win. But, they're definitely a team that could have done that throughout the split. We've seen them at LAN. They've, been on the main stage, but just I guess that was not enough for them to be able to take the spot. But DreamFire, they were just mowing down everything. I'm sitting here just jaw to the floor, trying to see if they can get themselves above that, that 75 points. It's kind of like sometimes, steamroll effect, taking down everything in your path, comes to an end at some point. And yeah, I feel like they just held on for dear life there, Elfish, but I just don't know if that's going to be enough to sort of take the top spot away from SWQ.
Yeah, no, it definitely wasn't. They needed to get to sort of 75. And even then, you're sort of not accounting for the potential that SWQ would have gotten maybe a couple of kill points in that game before they went down. So, look, DreamFire should absolutely be holding on to second, but I don't think they managed to make it through to first. It is, in a sense, a bit of a muchness type situation for DreamFire. Like, they were quite comfortably into the regional finals anyway, so job well done to, I would say, like, kind of start to peak at the right time for them and for Weibo, who I think might be finishing sort of around that third, fourth kind of area for this lobby. Both teams had a really good previous week. They've both had a really solid lobby today as well. So their game is kind of coming together at the right time, right? You definitely want to be going into that regional final all guns blazing. And there are some teams that, start this season well, make it in off the virtue of a good couple of early weeks and then just fall flat in the split finals. But maybe not the case for DreamFire and Weibo, who have had to do it the hard way.
Yeah, but I guess we just have to touch on this. A nice little sweet win for VP. Coming in with a lifeline clutch there, but, it's a bit short-lived for them, but being able to sort of just get this win just to kick off the end of Split 2 for our final game of Groups B versus C. And now let's have a look. We still have SWQ on top. They get their 25 series points with DreamFire. A very, very close second for them. That last game, they just fought tooth and nail just to try and get themselves into that top spot. But I am so impressed with, their complete turnaround in the last 2 weeks, Genome. It's been awesome to see them just be able to, live up to the name.
Yeah, to, acclimatize to their new third and really show that they are still a team to be feared in APAC-South. But, SWQ, I love that they've won today. It was an amazing storm point that they put together. Guild Esports there in fourth, just pipping out Final Dream on, the 52 points. Love that. They've been super consistent throughout our entire split, and I think that speaks to them having a very good chance of making it not only back to LAN, but hopefully we get to see them back in that final lobby for the Split 2 playoffs.
Yeah, it was really important for them today. They were at 23rd place. It was super important for them to turn up today to be able to push themselves into that top 20 spot. We saw, I guess, the likes of, Keep Going Gaming, HKUF, outside the ring, they had their time to shine in the first 6 matches. They may have not done enough to hold their spot, but I think Final Dream absolutely knew that, so they really turned up today, and it was awesome to see Elfish. So, I'm so excited to see this, who's going to be going to regional finals next week, before we get there. But, it's going to be very close for a couple of our teams for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty close towards that bottom end. Like, there was, we sort of highlighted it. There was, I'd say, maybe like 10 teams kind of in the mix, having a jostle for maybe like 3-4 positions at the bottom of the final 20. But SWQ, they started so strong. They started so well on Storm Point. They didn't finish super well on World's Edge. But look, it's really hard to maintain that kind of a pace. First, second, first, and 63 points after the first 3 games. They ended up at 77. Not a great conversion necessarily, but end of the day, we can't imagine them going and maintaining that to get like a 120-point day, that's just unreasonable. Overall, still a really, really strong game.
Perfectly
of Apex from SWQ, and you'll take it every day of the week.
I mean, and the other one I was just looking at quickly was Heroez, because they had a 14-point last game. That jumped them up 7 spots to 12th spot overall. Or not overall, but like, in today's series. And that means 7 points in the overall scoreboards. So in that final game, they get up 7 points. And I mean, I guess we'll see once we finally, see that regional finals final team list. But that could be the difference for Heroez, because they were on 20th. They were on the cusp of qualifying. And this is a team who just made it to LAN.
Yeah, I guess with the org pickup and all the changes, they wanted to sort of outshine. But I guess let's just stop waiting. Let's just stop making decisions, and we're gonna find out exactly who is in our top 20. And look at that, GK Esports still hold on. Wild.
So so that's GK. We were talking about them.
Yeah.
Their fate wasn't in their hands. And Keep Going Gaming, they came 17th in our second series today. So, you hate to see the haters win, but, they were preying on KPG's downfall today. And I guess they were praying to the right gods. It worked. And then going up from there, the 7 points that the Heroez picked up in that final game was enough to get them through. That made all the difference. Grape Soda, I mean, they only had a 14th today, but, they've had a decent enough split to make it through to the top 20. So a couple of results today just turning, on our final series.
Yeah, and Final Dream as well. I've been talking about them. They've had such an insane, games today, and they just made it to 19th. So coming from 23rd place, and being able to push into that top 20. So all their efforts today has put them into that top 20. Elfish, just it's insane. It's such a great feeling for them.
Got to keep on keeping on, right? And as long as you're inside of that top 20, then really anything can happen on the final day. We've seen it before. We could definitely see it again. As you can see, things are shaping up nicely. We've got to mention, obviously, how things play out, obviously, going into this regional finals lobby is a little bit different than how it plays out in the regular split. Obviously, as far as the POI draft is concerned, it's randomized during the regular split. Going into the regional finals, it is based on your seeding coming through from the regular split. So that's kind of the advantage that you get here, which means, obviously, a team like Legends, who will sit in first seed, will get their choice of location, and so they'll be very happy with probably a priority position like Cito on Stormpoint or something like that. So we'll obviously get to that in a couple of weeks' time, but just bear that in mind. That is the advantage that those teams do get. So there is always that kind of conversation when you're into those final weeks about, okay, can you maybe jump yourself up a couple of placement points here and there to give yourself what amounts to be, maybe in some cases, like I think for a first or second or third pick, like you're getting quite a lot of value out of that. But once you're into the middle of the pack, maybe the value of that seeding isn't quite as impactful as it could be towards the top end. But overall, like any advantage is a good advantage, and you kind of got to be taking those 1%ers when the competition is as tight as it is in ALGS.
Well, I mean, I guess one of the other things is that we haven't seen the POI draft system as we'll see it in the regional finals and at LAN, where it's actually less equitable, right? So the teams who are coming in at the top, they get the first and the 21st draft pick rather than the first and the 40th in the snake draft. So the teams who did really well during the season will be rewarded with that during the regional finals, and it means the Cinderella stories from those teams down the bottom, it'll be even harder for them.
Yeah, and not only is that a difficult thing, but, we've got mid-season patch notes. So, being, having all these crazy changes going into it, like with these POI drafts in a couple of days, we have some, big changes to the game again. And, watching, the likes of, let's say, Gugu go absolutely crazy with the Havoc. It obviously is going to have like a slight little nerf on the mag sizes. So, you're going to want to 100% find those purple mags. You know, the damage is still going to be there, but I guess, you know, a no mag Havoc, you know, can't do as much as we've seen going throughout these games. But, you know, some cool things that, you know, I guess added for a lot of, you know, casual players as quads, but, you know, us here in Pro League, I guess, Elfish, we sort of care about how these end rings are going to work.
Yeah, look, I mean, there's a lot to kind of consider, and that's kind of why we have this 2-week sort of break, right? There's a bit of time for all the teams and players to get a bit of an opportunity to sort of run it back, figure things out, change up anything that they want to change up, maybe think about where they want to be dropping as well, because they're obviously going to have to, you know, look into that too. That's still a very much ever-changing thing for a lot of the teams kind of getting used to this split of ALGS. So as always, it seems like there's always changes in Apex, and it kind of comes down to who can be the most adaptable team on the day, and we'll have to find out in a couple of weeks who that's going to end up actually being.
Yeah, you'll have to excuse me, guys. I've got a puppy on my lap at this present time, being a wiggly little worm. He's the little one that's been causing absolute chaos today, okay? So, you know, go to the living room. I've had toys everywhere, barking everywhere, but this is what I had to deal with throughout the show. You know, poor Genome's losing his voice. I've got a puppy to deal with, and Elfish probably just wants to lay on the ground and have a nap. So it's been absolutely chaotic here for all of us for Long Shot. But yeah, you know what? It's been exceptional watching all these teams play for us today. It's, you know, Split 2 has been nothing short of amazing. We've seen our teams who we didn't think would sort of make a comeback literally skyrocket to the top, and we of course are going to have a 2-week break for all these changes, but it's been a pleasure being your host as always, everybody, and thank you again, Genome and Elfish. I know you guys want to go and get some sleep, so you know, hopefully you can do that, but guys, 2 weeks, okay? It's going to be regional finals. It's going to be match point. So we could see a fair few games throughout that. But you know what? Big thank you to the production team as always, and Play Apex for having the Long Shot production on there. But thank you so much, guys. And we'll see you in 2 weeks' time for regional finals.
Your undisputed champions are the APAC-South in the ALGS.
Such a good spot here. Provides any much coverage for Popcorn. Ravi kicks down and out already. Crystal strikes there.
Let's go down. 1v1. 1v1.
Oh, what? Well, Shady finds the target.
Hey, that's going to be a punishing blow.
Tree is covered. Fly high to Senpai. The wraparound is perfect.
What? No! Wants to overextend! So does Kashira!
Now it gets spotted out. The pings go down!
Oh my god!